Welcome, everyone, to the Lakers Fast Break Nightcap Breaking News. Yes, Gerald's not here right now. He's shopping at Costco on a Saturday. What an idiot. But I just got news, and it's it's never a dull moment in Lakerland. Dalton Knecht and Mark Williams, the trade that was going to send Dalton Knecht, Cam Reddish, an unprotected 2031 first round pick and a 2030 pick swap to the Charlotte Hornets for Mark Williams has been rescinded due to a failed physical. So, yes, a failed physical. And I don't know why they had to throw in that it wasn't his back. I don't know if that mattered, at least to me. But as of right now, the Lakers are standing with one extra roster spot that they're going to have to figure out. I don't know who they're going to drop at this point. I mean, there's a few guys on that they can drop. But they also have to open their arms back up to Dalton Knecht. And the good part, that's the bad part. Of course, the good part is they are going to keep their pick in 2031 and their pick swap in 2030. Oh, boy. Now the Lakers have to figure out who their center is going to be. It's looking like at this point, guys and gals, we're going to have to watch Jackson Hayes start for the rest of the year. I don't know how that's going to play out. It's going to be probably a combination of him. It's going to be a combination of Vando. It's going to be a combination of Rui. There's also a buyout market. I don't know right now what the right person is, but the buyout market just became, I guess, task number one right now for the LA Lakers. We had mentioned a few guys out there. I just started looking at the list before I got on, and I was reading Marvin Bagley III. We were talking about Larry Nance Jr. Yeah, that's where that is. I think Homelander, I think there's going to likely be, I think they might just drop Cam. I don't know yet if it's going to be him or not. Mo Bamba is an option, but I don't know necessarily if that's something the Lakers are going to revisit. So it's going to be interesting. I'll tell you that. I don't know what's going to happen here, but it is going to be very, very interesting. And the Lakers are likely going to have to win a title if they're going to contend. And I know a lot of you guys just heard that who've never been on the show, or people that are on the show in general, listen to a title run here. Again, I'm just saying that the Lakers are going to try to go after it, and they're going to have to get another big to at least create some space that has at least a little bit of value. So I don't know who that's going to be. Koloko is not it. Jameson's not it, guys. As much as I wish they were, none of those guys are going to be it. Jackson Hayes has been holding his own a little bit here, but he's going to, it's going to be very difficult for him to be what the Lakers need when the games get really, really tight. Lakers are going to have to run and gun, guys. I think they're going to have to outpace their opponents at this point. Maybe if they're lucky, they can avoid the star centers, the star bigs. So if you look at the teams that are going to be contending for a title, let's look at the West for right now. So you can say that Chet Holmgren is probably going to be an effective big, even though he's been out most of the year. You can see that he's, he'll be there, and whether he'll be dominant, not likely. But their team is pretty stacked in terms of good defenders, so that's a problem. You look at Denver. Denver has Jokic, so that's going to be a problem playing Denver without a big. You're going to be probably playing Dallas. Well, at least in the regular season, you might see them in the playoffs. You got to deal with Gafford, you got to deal with Lively, and you got to deal with AD, obviously, if he's healthy. So as this Sengun in Houston, as the Lakers turn at this point, we're gonna have to see what. I mean, I was talking about hats and rabbits at this point a few days ago with Rob. What kind of rabbit is he going to turn out, pull out of his hat? Before the Mark Williams trade, and some people have been kind of 50-50 on this. Nothing too drastic, though. Nothing like, oh my God, I can't believe we got Mark Williams. But there have been discussions about his inability to stay healthy and play full seasons. And he did have some nice stat lines the last few weeks. And he's obviously got the size. He's got probably an advantage playing with someone like Luka and LeBron. But now at this point, we're never going to see those situations. It must have been pretty bad physicals if the Lakers went through this and decided to not pull the trigger. There's going to be a lot of talk about maybe the Lakers, because just so you guys know, if somebody's physical isn't up to 100% of what the receiving team has, they could have still passed them. But I'm going to try to stay with the story here and not imagine conspiracy theories, because that's always the case in these kind of situations. But let's just say the Lakers did in fact see some things that weren't sitting well, and they ended up deciding, look, we're not gonna give up an unprotected first round pick and a swap in 2030, and possibly give up Dalton Knecht, who might be a borderline all-star in the future, for a guy that might not be able to play in the next 2 to 3 years. I think that's probably what happened. Now, the conspiracy theorists would say maybe they got cold feet and given up so much for Mark Williams. If that was the case, they put themselves in a bad position, which again, that's why I think it wasn't that. If they were going to do that, they would have done it before the deadline, because in situations like this, before the deadline, they could have reintroduced another trade with Charlotte in a different package, or gone with something else. But since it's past the deadline, now they can't do anything. Now everybody's asked out. So, yeah, thanks for the list, Jay. Let me see. I'll pull this up right now. So top free agent centers available are right now JaVale McGee, that's a no. Daniel Theis, that's Mo Bamba, that's a no. Boban, no. Damian Jones, hell no. Matu, no. Harry Giles, no. Yeah, that list is horrendous. If I had to go with somebody, it'd be Daniel Theis, but I don't know necessarily if that list is going to work. Thanks, Jay. God, I don't even know. Let's see. Carey, what do we do, Joe? We can't compete with Jokic, Gafford, AD, Lively, Sengun, Sabonis, Gobert. Is this year a wash now? I honestly don't know, Carey. I don't know. They could run a well-oiled machine in this thing and pick up their defense a little bit and maybe outscore the heck out of their opponents. I don't know if that's likely, but they're going to try to get as many big bodies as they can to kind of weather the storm. If you look back during let's say the Bulls era in the 90s, whenever they were playing Shaq, they had like a 3-man rotation to have 6 fouls against Shaq. They had Bill Wennington, Luke Longley. He was usually the one that started, and then a few times, depending on which Bulls team it was, they'd have John Sally or Edwards, James Edwards, former Pistons big, players like that, where they can just kind of deal with that center position in spurts and then do everything else better. I don't see any other way for it to work. Dwight Howard, honestly, Porter's World. I actually thought of him. As soon as this happened. I was like, you know what? Maybe this might be something you might have to do, because I would probably trust Dwight Howard more than probably 90% of the buyouts of centers that would be available. So you're not far off on that. I was thinking the same thing. It just popped in my head too. It wasn't like something I was going through a list and I saw his name. That was the instincts, and that little instincts in my head, that's usually something I always try and listen to. So the Lakers are going to have to, again, pull a valuable rabbit out of their hat on this one to get ahead of it. Taco Fall, I look at him the same way I do as Mo Bamba. It's just, He's a big guy that just can't do anything. If you get into a pick and roll with that guy, he'll get dusted almost every time. He'll guards and elite wings will cook him barbecue chicken style. I don't think that's an option either. Who would we cut? I'm gonna guess Reddish. I don't know what value he has there. I don't know if he's mentally gonna want to come back. Maybe he stays and they drop someone else. I don't know. I have to look at. I have to look at some of the younger guys here. Would they drop Goodwin back? Would they drop Jameson, Terror? I mean, I don't really know. I honestly don't know. Would it be Shake Milton? I don't know. Maybe even Markieff Morris. There's a lot of talk Markieff might get dropped. I'd say maybe they might want to do that. I don't know. This was gonna be a little bit of a work on getting the best possible option and trying to wing it as best you can. Winging it is the other word that popped into my head. McCall Ninja, that's good. Alex Lynn, I don't know. Is he available, Alex Lynn? I thought someone might have picked him up. I guess I have to look at that one. I haven't had a chance to look at the list thoroughly. I do have a list to kind of gauge what's out there. You got Trey Jones. Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. That's a point guard. Let me get my center list here real quick. Where are we here? Sorry, everyone. My computer's being a little stupid. Where are we? Okay. Let's see here. I guess my list isn't coming up. All right. Larry Nance. Okay, so this is another name, Robert, that I was thinking about, which was Larry Nance Jr. We're going to have to wait for him to get dropped, obviously, from Atlanta. And I haven't really been watching Larry play too much, but I know that there's some familiarity from his previous stint in LA. It's been a while, but there is at least some familiarity there. And I don't know necessarily if he's, he was probably better as a second and third type guy, or a third type kind of backup center type situation. But I don't really know, guys. I'm kind of stuck. Daniel Theis is probably the one that right now is kind of in the lead if I had to pick someone. But I don't know they're going to have to probably sit down with LeBron. They have to sit down with Luka and the team, JJ as well, and just say, hey, look, what do you think out of this group would work best with what we're going to be doing here? That's likely what's going to happen. And even if Simmons had waited, there would be no way for us to sign Simmons because he's above the 12.8 threshold due to the fact that the Lakers are in the apron. So the apron is something that kind of puts us in even a harder position to get someone of value. You can't get anybody that gets dropped that's making more than 12.8. So now you're getting not only the runt of the litter, you're also getting the runt of the litter. Yeah, Rodell, they're going to have to ride this roster. They will probably they were already planning to get a buyout player. Who that was going to be likely was going to be another center, but they're probably going to have to start Jackson Hayes the rest of the way. That's going to likely be the way to go. They might start LeBron or Rui at the 5 on occasion, depending on matchups. I'm taking a guess on that one if they had to. But yeah, Jackson Hayes is likely going to be your starting center the rest of the way, and they're going to have to blitz the opposition once playoff time starts. Yeah. So this is where we are, folks. This is where LA is right now. There's going to be a lot of discussions between now and probably tomorrow on what to do, and then probably on Monday there's going to be more movement. You're probably going to see more movement, more discussions, probably Monday, Tuesday after the weekend is over, and we'll get a chance to see what might be on the horizon. DFS can also play. DFS, when the Lakers acquired him, there was this statistic that I read. Again, I don't know if this is 100% true, but apparently he's the only player in the NBA that's guarded the 1 through 5, in the NBA. I don't know if that's true 100% that he's the only one, but I do know that he has done it. He has guarded the point guard all the way up to the center. And then Jared Vanderbilt will likely be another option. The problem with Jared Vanderbilt versus Jackson Hayes is at least Jackson Hayes has the ability to kind of leap a little bit, get some nice alley-oops. He can get some space. He's not too bad on the pick and roll. Unfortunately, Jared Vanderbilt is better as a defensive type player and kind of picking up the garbage, or an absolute like clear path to the basket where he can either dunk it or lay it up. That's why you don't want to have him play center too much unless you absolutely have to in spurts. So Jackson Hayes, the problem with Jackson Hayes, again, it's this, Jackson Hayes is not going to likely be able to play 35 minutes a game, which, most of the time the centers don't really do that anyways, but I don't know. We're going to have to see if he can play 30 minutes a game consistently. It's not looking good there, though. I don't know if that's possible. I think 25 minutes might have been his max, which means JJ's going to have to, more so than anything, knowing what's likely going to happen here, JJ's going to have to get creative. He's going to have to get creative, and Luka's going to have a little bit more pressure on him to get the ball to the right guys when they need to. And then on defense, that's where the Lakers may have to sacrifice some possessions so that they don't kill themselves in the energy department. Rodell, the trade did not connect. I know you didn't think of that one, Ruff. I saw that all over the internet, but that's a good one. I'll put it up for you, brother. The trade did not connect. Gee, good one. Lakers need to sue Charlotte. Anthony D. See, Anthony, here's the deal, man. When you get into these situations, it's almost like, remember, you know how when you tell yourself, hey, you got to prepare for the worst, but then 80 times nothing happens and you don't prepare. That 81st time, it gets you. And then you're like, oh my God, I should have prepared. The Lakers likely should have made this trade, and then maybe it wasn't their fault. Maybe Charlotte hit them up later than maybe they should have, or maybe the Lakers wanted to. Maybe they didn't even know about it. I think the word around the campfire was that Charlotte did connect with them first, and then the Lakers engaged and made the deal. But even then, you have to kind of factor that into the equation. You got to back it up and get those physicals done immediately before the trade deadline is done. But how do you do that? How do you do that when I think we announced the trade maybe I think an hour and a half before the show was over, or an hour and a half before the deadline was over. So they would have had no chance. And it's just not what it is. And the reaction from the Luka trade was enough to probably keep a lot of things distracting for the Lakers and just overall what was going on. So yeah, the Lakers tried to, by the way, guys, they tried to get a big away from Charlotte, but there was too much capital that other teams wanted. And unfortunately, in this situation, the Lakers just decided that, you know what, we would rather not ruin a chance at using those assets this summer so that they can get exactly who they want. Maybe Mark Williams wasn't exactly who they wanted, but it was enough of a risk to see if he'd work out so that the Lakers could win a title this year. This certainly brings them back a notch. So it's going to be a little bit tougher without a legitimate center. But what it will do is it'll increase their chances of getting the right guy this summer with the 31 pick available, as well as not having to do the 30 swap as well. Let's see here. Where are we? It was wrap. Yeah, we did, Juan. We did say. Yeah, Daniel. I think he'll have a backup plan here, and the backup plan will be likely this summer. That was the backup plan. If they weren't going to get anyone, it is what it is, guys. It's just look at it this way, guys. Seriously, let's really get into that. If the risk of, and it wasn't so much the risk of the 31 pick, really, because I don't believe that that pick has as much value. And most people know this. You all know this. That pick and its value lessened with Luka Doncic coming to this team, because it's very likely that the Lakers in 6 years are not going to be in lottery hell, right? Or let's say mid to low mid teens in the draft. It's very likely that the Lakers are going to have a high, probably a high to mid 20s as far as that. They're going to be competing. They're going to be competing for a title by then, and that's Luka at 31. 31 is likely still his prime, and it's just not going to be as valuable as it was if the Lakers hadn't done anything. LeBron retires, AD gets traded for something or whatever, and the Lakers have to go through a 3 or 4 year rebuild to where they have to hope that they get a pick that they want. The swap is a swap, kind of same situation. What's going to happen? What if the Hornets end up, getting a better pick? Then there's no swap. Whatever. Again, that didn't matter either. Knecht now is the one that I think some of us might have been like, ooh, I wish we really wouldn't want. I don't know if I wanted to give up Knecht, but hey, you got to give up something to get something. But now you get back Knecht, and now you have another guy that can snipe. And maybe Luka can help him snipe better, get the ball to him in the right positions, get his confidence going, whatever. Problem is his defense stinks. So the Lakers lose out again in that department in terms of not getting Mark to get back Knecht again. Defense is going to likely be a problem. So, yeah. Again, I thank you, Arthur Johnson, for the super chat. I truly feel Mitch did not deal from a place of honesty. He knew he was sending out over. Arthur, Mitch is not in Charlotte anymore. He's not in charge. I don't think Mitch would have done something like that. Mitch had never been known to do anything like that, and he's not there. It's actually the general manager there is actually Jeff Peterson. So that's that. Again, Mitch is, despite the way Mitch left the Lakers, Mitch would have never likely have done that. And to feed into the maybe buyer's remorse, maybe the Lakers knew before the trade was accepted that he might have some minor things, and then all of a sudden when they maybe redid some things again, I've never seen the physicals done during a trade scenario. I don't know if it's true, but if they maybe got some buyer's remorse, maybe Pelinka got some information that there will be some people available this summer to be acquired, and having those assets would benefit, make it easier to get. Maybe that's what it was, because you want to make sure a little bit more this summer that you are going to compete next year. That actually means something. This year, because of all that's happened, you don't want to kind of, I mean, they did it to a certain degree, but then maybe like, okay, maybe something told them late, or maybe it's just what it is. Maybe it just played out the way it was supposed to, and they're gonna give it a shot, they were gonna give it a shot anyways with Mark Williams. Well, why don't we just give it a shot without Mark Williams? And the guys are playing great already right now. They've been playing, I think their defense without AD, and well, AD was playing, but they've been playing great defense since New York, since AD wasn't playing. And maybe they feel that, hey, with the kind of the confidence and the chemistry kind of being built, maybe they can get away with it with the right luck and playoff kind of seeding. That's it. There's no other way to look at it. And then come summertime, maybe they get exactly who they want at the center, at the big position. And if you come to me and you ask me, hey, Joe, Would you rather guarantee you're going to get the center you want, not having to worry about Mark Williams, quote unquote, being lazy? There's actually video on YouTube where the announcers for the Charlotte Hornets were calling out Mark Williams for his effort. And there were a lot of people kind of backing him up on that, saying, well, you're playing for the Hornets. How are you going to be motivated? Well, that's kind of I don't know if I agree with that kind of response. It's, you're a professional. You got to play hard, Plus, AD dropped 40 and 20 on him. So there's that. But he did have some good stat lines. He does have the size that they needed. And we would have never known. We will never know now what he could have done with guys like LeBron and Doncic distributing the ball to him. However, if I was asked that question, hey, Joe, would you rather guarantee you're going to get the guy you want this summer or make this trade and hope this guy becomes the guy you want? I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna have to wait a few months, even if it's at the expense of a title. Because what's going to happen is if you get the guy you want this summer, you're likely going to be able to get a longer run with that guy. You don't have to worry about going through a carousel of centers. So that's it. Brian L. That's a good one. Carfax. Yeah. He got Carfaxed. He got Carfaxed. That's funny. Let me get to you here, Kerry. 1 second. Okay, we probably didn't have a choice, but we should have gotten Gafford or Lively and Luka trade to cover our bigs instead of freaking injured Maxi Kleber and old Markieff Morris. I know that's easier said than done, Kerry, but you have to understand something. The first instinct that you should have in that scenario is get this deal done ASAP before the noise gets out. Because in the end of the day, you're getting Luka Doncic. Not only pre-prime, as good as he is, you're still getting him at pre-prime. Get that guy here and don't worry about whatever's around that. It's just, you gotta make sure that whether they asked for Gafford or Lively, maybe they did, man. They talked for 3.5 weeks. I'm pretty confident that they probably did ask, but they met in the middle, okay? They took a couple of dead sticks in Kleber and Morris to get those contracts out of Dallas, but they got their prized possession. And then, of course, Dallas gets AD and Max Christie and a first-round pick. So, guys, no matter who they put in there, heck, if they had put in Reeves in that deal instead of a first-round pick, still be happy about it. As much as we love Austin Reeves, especially after tonight. So yeah, it's hey Gerald, what's up?
Knecht's coming back, baby. Woohoo! Yeah.
Well, I wanted to get on quick because the fingers were, I could feel the fingers in the internet world looking
yes,
up.
Absolutely.
Welcome back. You made it out of Costco.
Yes,
in one piece on a Saturday evening. Congratulations.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, Gerald. I've been trying to play. I'm not trying to play. I'm in the middle here. I don't really have I'm not depressed. I'm not upset. I'm not happy. How do you feel about this situation?
I'll just say this. I don't think we lose either which way. So we get a great young player back in Dalton Knecht. Plus, we get our first-round pick back to go ahead for future trade. So we get that back. So I don't see how we lose in this situation. But as I indicated to you guys, the initial reports had Charlotte approaching the Lakers in regards to this trade, which kind of makes you wonder, what's going on here? And then I know that people were asking, Joe, what's the deal with Williams? What's the deal with Williams? And I kept indicating that it must be something to do with the medicals. And sure enough, it may be something that's chronic. So maybe something that's
you're awesome.
Something more in depth that came up on the medicals that wasn't really indicated. They said it was not attributed to his back, which I know he had a back injury previously, but it sounds like that there's something might be that is of concern that may not allow him to play long term, may or may not. But it just seems that there's something on the medicals that was red flagged by the medical staff. And
you're awesome.
When you're giving up these kind of and thank you so much for giving out the memberships. Truly appreciate it. Yeah, I just think right now, Joe, you must make sure when you're trying to build something for the future that
You're
you've got the right
awesome.
players in mind. And if there's something questionable on those medicals, I cannot blame Rob and the rest of the Lakers organization for saying, no, this ain't going to work. But yeah, how do we lose? We get Knecht
You're
coming back.
awesome.
Absolutely. Don't lose. And the picks.
So what is okay? Are we confident that the Charlotte Hornets were trying to pull a fast one on the Lakers, or is this just made up drama?
All I say again is the reports had the Hornets approaching the Lakers. And I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it to your imagination, guys, because the imagination for the internet runs wild. The initial reports had the Hornets approaching Rob with this after Rob's comments on the center position or center market being dry. So a previously unknown center, as far as not unknown and as far as we know who he was, but unknown that he was available, being brought up by Charlotte.
Yay! A subscriber.
Thank you, Mobic, for subscribing. Truly appreciate it. But the thing is, you got to wonder, read between the lines. You want to go ahead and do that by all means, because you look at their
Yay! A subscriber.
They had probably one of the more enviable center depth positions between Williams and Nick Richards. They let Nick Richards go. They let him walk for that deal at Phoenix, and now they were going to do the same for their guy, leaving Muwasa Diabate at 6'9" as their only center. So you tell me, Joe. You tell me.
Well, this isn't something that Charlotte decided not to do. This is a Laker thing. We know that they're trying to look. Most of these teams, guys, are in it to make money. And if there wasn't a salary floor, most of these NBA teams, and I'm talking to you, New Dallas owners, the Adelsons too, they would never, ever care about really winning. They would care about making money. That's what baseball teams do most of the time. Guys like up in San Francisco, guys in Pittsburgh, and of course they'll scream and cry about, well, it's economics and we can't rebuild our stadium because due to a natural disaster, blah, blah, blah. Every single owner in baseball has a billionaire owner. Every single owner in the NBA has a $1 billion owner. So, that whole setup about why they traded Nick Richards, why they traded Mark Williams, and so that they can have a 6'9", really realistic third backup of a center. What they're doing is they're accumulating draft picks and they're trying to manage their money. Even though they have a floor, they can still make some money by cutting some of the corners. And you know how I feel about the Charlotte Hornets franchise in Charlotte. I think it's a terrible area to have basketball, at least professionally. But I'm thinking at this point, the Lakers are going to have a much better chance at getting who they want and it not being a mystery. No injury issues from the past. I think the Lakers are tired of that, by the way. I think they're really tired of the center, despite whether it's AD, whether it's Mark Williams. I think they're really, really tired with having an injury-prone big that's not available. So this now allows them. Now they don't have the pick swap going out in 2030. They have their 31 pick that they can still send out as an unprotected pick. They get Dalton Knecht back, which, of course, is Dalton Knecht one of those guys that's going to look at this situation and go, thank God I'm going back? Or is he going to be the kind of guy go, mother effers, I hate you? What do you think on that one? That one is something I want to know. How do you think he's going to react? My instincts tell me he's doing this. And then maybe he can fuel some of that negativity into saying, oh, you wanted to trade me, huh? Well, I'm going to start dropping 12, 13 points a game when you're playing me about 50 minutes a game. That's what I'm
I'm
hoping.
just going to say right now, Joe. I mean, this again. I think this is it's either which way. Whether you thought they gave up too much in the trade for this guy or what, I just really think at this point in time, this is a no lose situation for the Lakers because again, they're bringing back the picks, they're bringing back the assets. If Mark Williams was going to stay on the Lakers, as you saw from the or as you're hearing from the reports on the medicals, there's something there. There's something there in the medicals that is of concern to the Lakers, which may have been a bummer for us because if you see in his career, Joe, he has been often injured over the course of his first 3 seasons. He has not been able to, he's played what, less than half, I think, of it in the 3 seasons as far as that's concerned. That's not good. And if it just showed in the medicals that the future would be similar to his past, that's a concerning sign for all Lakers fans out there. So I think the smart move is you go ahead and you don't take that risk to see if you can get him right. This may be something that's chronic. And if that's the case, Joe, you don't take that type of chance with your future, especially when you could utilize those assets in the summer to get something better. Hopefully there's going to be a player, maybe like Larry Nance Jr. If Larry Nance Jr. does get waived or as far as a buyout process, he would be the individual I would go for, Joe, because since his tenure in Los Angeles, he has learned how to shoot threes. He has stepped out. Remember, he had a good midline, about 15-foot jumper. He has stretched it out from three. If you take a look at the box scores, what was last night or the last time Atlanta played, he was, I think, 3 or 4 from three. So he does have the capability now to stretch the floor. He still has a lot of his athletic ability that's left. He is 6'9", but he's still got a body that's strong enough. And I think, again, if he does become available, Joe, I think the Lakers should target him first.
So why would Atlanta drop him? Atlanta's competing. Why would they drop him?
He's still just a rotation guy. He's on his last year of his contract. Maybe it's something that his management would request for on his behalf.
So they would give him this release, even though he's somewhat productive. Atlanta right now is in the play-in, and
they are underwater, Joe. They are underwater as far as 500 concerned.
So what are they going to do? Are they going to now punt this season away with Trae Young again? Waste another year with Trae Young?
I mean, between them and Capella, remember Okongwu's their starting center, Joe. Nance and Capella are fighting for time with each other on the back end of that roster. So maybe one of them will stay and the other one may be bought out. So
it's going to come down to it's going to come down to this. Do you see the Lakers really struggling in the half court against a very, very, very good front line? Cleveland being one. I know that they're not in the West, but let's just say they play them in the finals. I know I'm asking too much, guys. Look, I'm just using this as an example. I'm not saying the Lakers are going to the finals, but playing a team like the Cleveland Cavaliers, a team that has good frontline skill sets. You look at Denver with Jokic, and you have Michael Porter Jr., and you have that those two guys are a menace, right? And then even Aaron Gordon to a degree, even though he's more of a perimeter type, he's got some size and can jump out the building still at his vast age. Now you got a problem with those two teams out the gate. The Celtics have a really good, when they're focused, they have Doberman type mentality in terms of defense. Who else would it be? Would it be Gobert in Minnesota? Is that going to be something that would expose the Lakers?
I would not, because then he can get played off the court in a playoff situation because of his lack of offensive ability. But I mean, and plus you got to remember, Gobert is on the other side of 30, and with players on the other side of 30, you do not know how fast or how well they can sustain that high level of play after 30. We've seen some players, LeBron, for instance, keep that high level of play well into his 30s and now 40. There are others that, as we've seen, Joe, get often injured, more so in their 30s, or they deteriorate a lot faster than others. After 30, it's kind of like, you don't know which players after somebody hits 30 exactly how fast they deteriorate in their game. So Rudy Gobert, I'm not sure I would actually go for that. There should be some viable options that maybe Rob could look into, that we'll have to take a look more into as far as that as well for this conversation.
I haven't been able to figure out yet how the team is probably thinking right now.
Mm-hmm.
Are they you think they're kind of like, or are they like, I think we can make this work? Like, where do you think their head is here? I'm talking about the players, and then of course JJ.
I think right now that they're remaining positive. I mean, we talked about how we were so happy after the game because we were just thinking that everything was going right for the Lakers, and there you go. Life happens, and look, something was taken away from us. A young center who still, if he
But
ever
it wasn't
ever
taken
gets
away.
right,
It wasn't taken away. Or are you? Oh, you're talking as if you were them. Is that?
yes,
Oh,
yes,
okay. I'm
yeah,
sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah,
yeah.
go ahead.
So that option is taken away for now, as far as a young center that they could build around, by no fault of their own, but just the fact that the Lakers had to make the call, and I think they made the right one. Because if they see something on those medicals that show that he is not going to be able to develop long term with Luka, then why do you commit those kind of assets, Joe? So at this point, yeah, I see Kerry Khan said, in the chat that we're cooked. I don't agree. I don't think we're cooked at all. I don't think we're cooked in the slightest. We have been playing well, leading into Luka and LeBron playing together for the first time, hopefully on Monday, Joe. I really think that we can still do a lot of damage. And as I've said before in this past week, and I'll say it again, as long as you have Luka and LeBron in any playoff situation, Joe, together, playing as they do, playing as they are, playing at this level, or at least the level that we know Luka can play, they are a viable team to beat anyone in a 7-game series. I'm not saying I would favor them in all the series. I just say they are a viable chance to win any 7-game series, Joe, even without Mark Williams.
So I was thinking, the 2022 champions that was the Golden State Warriors. Their most viable center was Kevin Looney.
Yeah.
And then they used Draymond Green in a lot of those sequences as well, and he had a terrible, that's where he got the term single double or triple singles. He was not playing well that year, especially towards the end. He was barbecue chicken to himself. Didn't have a lot to do with that run other than really Steph going supersonic, pardon the pun. And then I can't remember. He had a weird name. It started with a B, but I think it was silent. Was it Jellica?
Oh, I know who you're talking. Yeah. It's no. I know who you're talking.
Nemja. I think it was Nemja Jellica, something like that. That was their other center. So they basically went on that run, and they beat a really good Celtic team in the finals with really only Looney, Draymond playing as crappy as he did, and some guy I can't even pronounce, and they were able to win it. You see maybe that kind of scenario here? Could that be something that could happen, or was that a fluke in 2022
No,
due to the fact that it was kind of like the first year back from the bubble / early start of 2021, and then people kind of, then Golden State fell back down to earth again after that.
Again, Joe, as I'm telling you, yeah, it always is great to have those additional pieces, as we talked about. AD and LeBron together needed better additional pieces that ultimately Rob couldn't get it. But this landed right into Rob's lap. He had to make the deal. He got it as far as with Luka. This one also landed in his lap. Hey, I've got a young 7-footer I'd like to go ahead and give you. All right, you have to make the deal, get it done. But I'm not going to fault Rob on this one because, again, this is something about the long-term, short and long-term future of this team. And if you got a guy that already shows on the medicals at 23, Joe, 23, that there's going to be problems there, and the doctors are saying to Rob, you know what, Rob, I really don't think you should do this. I really don't think you should make this commitment. I think it's the smart play, Joe. You really have to go with your gut on that one, and you have to say, you know what, I don't think we're going to do this trade because it's obvious that why would Charlotte have come to them so quickly after Rob's comments on that?
Natalia, I don't know what you heard when I was talking, but I was using the Warriors as an example. It was their particular setup in 2022 I was talking about. I just mentioned the Celtics in that scenario because the Warriors, with not really a legit center,
When was the last time, Joe, when was the last time they did have a legit center? Andrew Bogut.
I still believe that Andrew Bogut played a huge part in 15, and I actually think, a lot of people don't talk about this. I actually think that the reason why they lost in 16 in the end wasn't the only reason, but if Bogut had not gotten injured in the finals, they would have won. You know how I know? The first 2 games of that series, I remember distinctively. Every time LeBron or anyone went to the basket, Bogut was sending it out or scaring the crap out of them. The second that stopped was when it was a layup line after that. So the Warriors have had good frontline help. Now, in 17 and 18, when you have Durant, okay, look, check this out. You had Durant in his prime, Clay in his prime, Steph in his prime. And you could argue 100% that is the greatest 1, 2, 3 shooting players on the planet Earth ever. You could argue that, all on the same team. So it didn't really matter. And even then, they almost lost in 18 because they didn't have, I guess, again, Draymond Green is a power forward. Like he's a tweener, you know, he's built like a small forward who plays power forward, who is probably going to go to the Hall of Fame and was a great defender in his prime and could hit threes every now and then, but he wasn't the center we're talking about, like a legit, serviceable, at the very least, 5. So fast forward, the reason why I wanted to use something that was recent was because I remember the 22 Warriors team. I'm not talking about the Celtics and Horford. I was just talking about the Celtics that year they made the finals, which coincidentally, that was Horford's. I thought that was going to be kind of like Horford's swan song because he didn't play that well. The Warriors did not have a big, much like us, that year when they won it. Now, I'm not saying that the Lakers are going to the finals. I'm just kind of using some recent history to point out that this is 2025, folks. This is not the 90s. And even in the 90s, hilarious as this sounds, even with the David Robinsons, the Hakeem Olajuwons, the Patrick Ewings, the Alonzo Mournings, the Dikembe Mutombos, it was still dominated by guards. Well, it was one specific guard, except for a couple of years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in 1990, you still had the Pistons beating Portland, right? And then Jordan, the little two years with Hakeem, and then, of course, Duncan to finish it off in 99. So the point is, we're trying to put some things together here that we can kind of play off of. We want to play off what's happened recent, and we also want to give some credit to the Lakers. Lakers have been playing very good defense without even AD here the last few games. Last few weeks with AD too. I'm not saying it wasn't. It's been a few weeks they've been playing well, but they played really well even when AD wasn't playing. And it's not nothing, guys. It's not nothing. It means something. And they've put themselves in a position right now. They're in the 4th spot now. And I was watching the Orlando Spurs game, the the Spurs missed the last second shot to win the game. And I don't know what's going to happen with the Spurs. The Spurs and the Warriors right now are looking like they're going to be one or the other in the end here. Which one is going to make it into the play-in? We're going to have to wait. If I had to pick, I think I'm going to still stick with the Warriors, but I don't know. We'll see what happens with that.
I want to just go ahead, Joe, real quick and let everybody know about something that @Hornets Lead on Twitter was saying in their own personal opinion. Remember, this is their own personal opinion, but since they follow the Hornets specifically, Joe, I thought it bears mentioning. This was said in our WhatsApp chat. Mark's body, aka Mark Williams' body, is a mess. The Hornets knew, and then they tried to pull a fast one to ship him out of town. No rival GM is dealing with Jeff Peterson again.
So Jeff Peterson decided to napalm himself on a team that has been napalming itself since they were the Bobcats. Now, who's the owner? Who's this new owner? Who's this new owner that was supposed to show up Michael for how bad Michael was? It's more of a rhetorical question. I know you're looking for it, Gerald.
Yes.
It's I always call him Schnaz, but his name is Schnall.
No. I'm actually looking up more of the Hornets. I'm reading the Hornets and just saying how they're disgusted by the fact that they tried to, their organization, even though they were very happy to get Knecht, they were very excited to get Knecht, still did this to another team because the fact that, like you said, it leaves such a stain on the organization, Joe. It leaves such a bad mark. And like you said, this is a team that needs to develop themselves, that needs to grow. It needs to be able to go ahead and try and get out of whatever doldrums that they're in. And they go ahead knowing that they have an injured individual, that may long-term may not be able to play the game of basketball based off of what their medicals say. They knew this, and they tried to pawn it off on someone else. They tried to pawn out their problems onto someone else, and that's just a bad move, Joe. That is just in bad taste. I understand it's the NBA. I understand it's a business. I'm not going to put the Lakers above in that hierarchy because remember, the Lakers we've talked about with Jerry West, the PPP loan, the whole 9 yards. The Lakers are not above doing something like that, doing some things that are kind of shady themselves. But this is a shady move that was done by the Charlotte Hornets organization. So it's going to be a little while before other teams are going to trust them again.
Do you think the Lakers had another deal that they might have been able to get had they not done this to him?
Well, they had reached out and talked to Jalen,
but that was before, right? That was before,
yes, that was before.
And word was that they were asking for too much capital, right?
I'm sure they have backups. If you're a good GM and you have the board up there, you know the players you want to target. This was brought to the Lakers. This was not on their board, Joe. This was brought to the Lakers because they felt he was untouchable. Because if you look at it, Joe, you take Mark Williams, you take Nick Richards off that team, they have no one that's above 6'10" playing the center position for them, if that's the case. So obviously they, Charlotte knew what they had in.
That's funny, Nell. That's a good one. Some of you newbies, man, you've been sending some good stuff.
Yes.
I got a thought. I got a vision in my head of Knecht being in his hotel room writing I want to thank Laker Nation. He's only been there like 3 minutes writing a letter to Laker Nation for being in LA, and then all of a sudden, hey, your ass is going back. You can put away the pen. Oh, that's a good one. Utah back to
we're glad.
And the first.
I was just gonna say we're glad to have all you here. If you're new, we got close to 250 people watching. Please like and subscribe. You get this banter between us, plus our entire panel, over 300 days long, right here at the Lakers Fast Break. But yeah, Joe, This is again. I'm not putting this as a doom and gloom at all on this situation because again, we get possibly someone. How well do you think Dalton Knecht could fit into the lineup with Luka and LeBron both getting him the ball? Most likely in good spots where he can take a lot of good shots, Joe.
Well, that's the thing is that the more shooters you have, there's never enough shooters, folks. The issue, though, with Dalton will be on the defensive end, so he's going to get exposed there. So it's likely that Dalton Knecht's going to need to go.
Yay! A subscriber.
Thank you, Faye.
Thank you, Faye.
Yeah, it's likely the Lakers are going to have to play it by ear, obviously, which they are, and then they're going to have to put Knecht in scenarios where the opposing team isn't likely going to expose his weaknesses because they don't have the personnel to do it. Now, we're not really thinking of the regular season and the end of this. I think the Lakers are going to they would have been fine regardless of this trade had it taken place anyways, because it's the regular season. Where it's going to be kind of iffy
Yay!
is
A
if they go
subscriber.
into.
Thank you, Marlon.
Thank you, Marlon. If you go into the playoffs and if you draw up the teams that can expose the Daltons, not in a few possessions, I'm talking about an entire game. We've seen this happen. We've seen Jackson Hayes completely go to crap in the playoffs, not even do one thing right. Jared Vanderbilt completely gets just non-factor in the Denver series. So that's the thing with the. I'm sorry, were you going to say something, Gerald?
No, played off the floor. I think that's what
Yeah.
we're trying.
I'm sorry. That's it. Thank you. So a lot of these guys are going to get played off the floor. So I keep reading Dwight Howard. So guys, I want you to remember this. In 2020, Dwight Howard really only played in a consistent manner where he was really needed and he executed in the Denver series in the Western Conference Finals. If you look back when they played Portland, when they played Houston, and when they played Miami in the finals, Dwight Howard was really a non-factor. Why? Because those three teams were more run and gun, small ball players, small ball mentality, small ball offense. And Dwight and his game is obsolete at this point in the NBA, except when he was in the Denver series, because Denver did play more of a half-court offense, consistent, play in, play out. So he didn't have to run around the perimeter guarding people and didn't have to worry about shooting on the other side when the offense is going. A lot of fast break type stuff. That's why. Fast break, that's what made the Lakers win the championship that year. And that kind of hid the deficiencies of guys like Dwight Howard. We are excited to welcome back. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me?
This is from the Charlotte Hornets organization, Joe. I'll say it for you. We are excited to welcome Mark back to our Hornets organization. After the other team, I love how Lakers are not the Lakers. They're the other team aggressively pursued Mark, contradicting statements that was made by Shams saying that the Charlotte Hornets offered Mark to them. Okay. We made the difficult decision to move him. Yeah. We have always held
petulant child.
Yes, we have always held great respect for Mark's talents, worth ethic, and character. We are thrilled to see him rejoin our roster as a dynamic presence at the starting center position. His return strengthens us. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. All right. Blah blah. Yeah. Okay. Joe. That contradicts everything for what was reported by various NBA outlets. Okay. Yeah. This smells, Joe. This truly smells. That statement smells because they're trying to throw the Lakers under the bus. Absolutely smells.
Talk about projection, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, good luck, folks, in Charlotte. I hope you do well in Charlotte, which I don't know what that even means anymore. Charlotte hasn't been.
Well, you know what? We're saying this all this, but to the kid himself, I hope Mark Williams, it isn't chronic, whatever it is. I hope you do find a state of health and you do play well for the rest of your career. I hope you have a long and fruitful career. No ill will or bad things for you at all, Mark Williams. Your organization, however, with Charlotte, you guys done dirty. Absolutely. You guys done dirty, and you're trying to cover it up. And that statement is just the capper on top of it.
Did you hear it? Nick just wrote. Nick, by the way, Nick Molina, one of our favorites here on the show.
Yes.
Where the hell did it go? He goes, I'm motivated to litigate pro bono for the Lakers against the Hornets. This is defamation.
Yes, exactly. That's nasty. That's real nasty. Absolutely.
So what is Adam Silver going to do now? What the hell's he going to do?
I don't know. Can he throw any kind of sanctions?
Is he going to go to the Lakers and say, you should have done your due diligence? I'd be like, hey, asshole, what the hell, man? What kind of operation are you running here?
They just did their due diligence with those medical tests.
Right. So the fact that they try to pull the wool, or are they going to say, well, prove it? Who says we were pulling any wool? It's not something you approve, huh?
Yeah.
No. But does Adam call Peterson and go, hey, man, what are you doing? And he'll just deny it? Is that how it works?
You know, and I know that Alan in the chat is saying, Gerald, do you think Knecht and Reddish are going to be professional coming back or sulking coming back?
I don't want Reddish back.
Rookie. Knecht's a rookie, and he knows he was the major piece. Reddish.
Yay! A subscriber.
Thank you, Mark. Truly appreciate you subscribing. Let me ask you this, Alan. Do you really care what Cam Reddish thinks?
They got to open up a roster spot. Are they going to keep him or what? At this point, I don't know if I would.
Yeah, but I don't know. I wouldn't. If they've got enough between the first and the second tax apron, which I think they created just enough room with the DFS trade, then they can probably afford to waive and then pick up another individual. But I think they're waiting. I think they're waiting right now to see if anybody else comes off the board or as far as or becomes available on a buyout. I think they're just they don't have to do it right now, Joe. They don't have to do it soon. But you know how these things work. If let's say a Larry Nance, let's say a Clint Capella, let's say someone else who gets bought out in the next few days, Joe, I'm sure their agents will be on the phone with various teams, including the Lakers. Then the Lakers can decide whether or not they want to go ahead and waive Reddish because, like, for instance, Alex Len, he hadn't been yet fully waived. It was just announced that he's waived, and it's already intended to go to Indiana with Alex Len. I mean, those things are already almost like prearranged, Joe. It's almost like a trade in and of itself because those things are prearranged with certain guys that come off the boards or, that get waived. So we'll see what happens. A guy like Larry Nance, if he does become available, or even a guy like Clint Capella, if he becomes available, or someone else that's desirable comes available, their agents already know what they're sending them to, Joe.
So EMD has a question. How is this not completely on Rob if the whole league knew about Mark Williams' injuries and lack of availability? EMD, every player in the NBA has injury issues, if you haven't looked. How many guys played 82 games last year? I know for sure our guy Austin Reeves did. I know the guy up in Brooklyn. What's his name? Powell?
As far as Claxton, as far as
look, there's only a handful of guys that play 82 games a year, and most of these clowns are playing about 60, 65, just enough to get over to get their awards. These guys are all injured. They all have issues.
Well, the thing though with MD, let me just say this, is that the Lakers don't know his medicals when they make that trade. When they go ahead and they talk about a player, they're supposed to Charlotte's supposed to send them their medicals before they really finish the trade, as far as the medicals beforehand, as far as what they say and report is wrong or anything wrong, or the overall health or whatever checked out last time they fully gave Mark Williams a physical. But Mark Williams has been playing the past month, Joe, and we saw he'd been doing well, double-doubles. He had scored actually 38 points in the game. It's just that whatever chronic injury or whatever red flag that the Lakers put up when looking at his injury, or just because they didn't know. They weren't told ahead of time, Joe, about whatever serious condition that he may have. that popped up when they did a medical on him himself when he finally came to the UCLA Health Center in El Segundo. That's the thing. Whatever was sent ahead of time about the medicals reported by Charlotte may have not been fully 100% accurate. Let's just go ahead and say that. I'm just speculating, but obviously something was read between the lines when
What I would want to know, we got word of this trade while we were between our 3.5 hour, almost 4 hour trade deadline, morning and afternoon, correct?
Yes.
Right. So was it halfway through? Was it around 10:30 our time? I can't remember. I'd have to look back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so so the question I have to better assess who put themselves in a bad position in the end. Before you got on, I was explaining how you have to be prepared for everything. And more often than not, us as human beings are not. We will walk to the store, or we'll go to the store knowing we're going to go through a construction site. Going through the construction site, you know that there's going to be a high probability that your tire might get a nail in it. Let's just use that as an example because I'm in the construction business and that's what came up into my mind. Do you want to risk going a certain route where you know you're going to do that, but it's because you're going that way because it's quicker to where you want to go? Or will you go the extra 2 miles to avoid that, right? Because you might have to deal with some traffic. Well, most people are like, maybe I won't run into that nail. And they'll do it 100 times. And then finally it gets to them at some point, right? Down the road, whatever, a year later, 10, 5 years, whatever, right? So it's kind of the same thing, but I want to know this. This is where I can make that description make sense, or it doesn't matter. How long were they working on this deal? Did they work on this deal the day before?
2 days, Joe. It was reported 2 days.
So if you were going to make that deal, if you're making that deal on, if you're making that deal on Wednesday, let's say morning, and it goes through, how fast can you get that player's physical done? How fast does that go? When do they get it? Do they wait a day for them to fly in? Do they fly them in the next day? Does the Lakers, how does that work? I'd want to know.
Well, let's take a look at De'Aaron Fox. When he was traded, Joe, he played, less than 48 hours later?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can see when you can Sacramento sends San Antonio the basic outline of their physicals that they've done. When you're doing that, you send them all the information on the medical history, blah blah blah. But it isn't until he lands on the ground in San Antonio and actually has a physical, De'Aaron Fox does, before you determine whether or not everything is absolutely a-okay, and then you let the league know that this is going through, everything is official and done. In this case, something happened, came up on a red flag, and Rob had to make the call. Obviously, it was something that was drawn out because these things, this trade had been drawn out over the past few days. Knecht couldn't play for Charlotte. Reddish couldn't play for Charlotte. So obviously this was elongated out for some reason. And the more this dragged itself out, the more you knew that maybe something's not right here. And people were asking about it, and I said it was something came up on the something must have come up on the physicals in order for it to drag out that long. Did I know it would be rescinded? No one knew it was going to be rescinded, but still, something had to be curious when you're dragging it out this long before you make it official, Joe.
Okay, so here's the deal. No matter how this played out, it played out the way it did. I don't know necessarily if it matters. The Lakers probably gave up more than they wanted to, but it was sometimes you just got to risk, guys. Sometimes in life, you just got to say, screw it. I'm going to go all the way in on this. If it doesn't work, I'll take the heat. But man, if it works, it's going to be huge. The Lakers needed a big. They needed a legitimate center, someone who had been stacking stats in the point and rebound area for a while, for a few months, wasn't it? The games he played, he was pretty effective. And you hadn't factored in that you had a true blue bona fide megastar in Luka now pulling the trigger, and you still have LeBron doing it too. LeBron can find you anywhere when you get a little space. Luka the same, if not better, right? So they at that moment, I believe at that moment, they're like, we're gonna go after this. Screw it. If it ends up being a bad deal, so what? We got Luka Doncic, for God's sakes. We'll figure out another way. And folks, for those of you who have been with us for a while here, and for those who haven't been here, so that you all know, I was very, very critical of Rob Pelinka and Jeannie for a good almost year. And no matter what they did before, and no matter what happened in this deal, in the end, they solidified the Lakers and made them relevant as in title contenders for the next 10 years. And that's all that matters. And if it means that the Lakers, and I've said this already before you got on here, Gerald, so I'm going to repeat it again. If it means the Lakers don't win it this year, but they can go into the summer and get exactly who they want, because you guys keep forgetting they're getting back someone who a lot of people loved, who really wanted Knecht to stay and believe Knecht is going to be a star. Now, I don't know about that. I don't know if he's going to be the star that you think he's going to be. I would like a Bogdan Bogdanovic type career. If he has that kind of career, to me, that is a win. That's a huge win for the Lakers, especially if he stays with the Lakers. That means it was a huge win. Now, the Lakers are getting back their first pick. They're getting back their pick swap. Now, if they go into the summer and get who they want, where they want it, then it's much easier to roll with what you have for the next 3-4 years, because they're not going to sign that guy probably for 1 year. If it's somebody they really want, they're probably going to sign him for 3 or 4 years. Now you have someone there that's going to build continuity. There's going to likely be some input with Doncic and JJ on who to get, what the best deal is. There's more time to do that. So look at it this way. If I hope it doesn't sound like I'm being all optimistic and hopeful. It's not that, guys. It's not. The Lakers absolutely won more in the last week than I have seen a team win in a long, long time. Maybe the Duncan draft. You could say Pau Gasol too, going to the Lakers as well. But the Duncan thing was a almost 20-year run, right, Gerald? So by the Spurs getting Duncan in 97, that set the stage for an entire, not just one generation, almost 2 generations of winning. This summer, the Lakers will be able to use these assets and have more time and have the ability to have more discussions to see if they can solidify that position correctly with someone who doesn't have maybe a motor problem, maybe a health problem, and things like that. Maybe someone more complete. Then I think you guys will all forget what's going on here. Yeah.
I just think, again, it's something where, Joe, you run a business. Simblades with a Y.com. If you are in the Southern California area, really take a look at what Joe can do for you with your landscaping, just as far as just transforming your lawn into something much more special. Go ahead and take a look. Help out Joe at Simblades with a Y.com. But your business, my friend, if you get material, when you order products for your consumers that you can make sure those lawns are awesome, if you get a batch in, Joe, and you look at it and you take a closer look at it before you sign off on the dotted line, they ship it to you, they bring it to you, it comes off the truck, you're looking at it, and it doesn't seem quite right. What does your gut tell you?
Say that again, Gerald.
Let's say because you get products in order to go ahead to run your business, in order to go ahead and transform lawns into something better than it was today. Let's say it comes off the truck. you're looking at a shipment of whatever it is, as far as whatever product that you ordered, turf, whatever, and you're getting it off the truck and you're looking at it and it wasn't quite exactly what you ordered. What does your gut tell you?
Well, the first thing I do is I rescind the order.
Exactly.
and,
Exactly.
and that's a good example too, Gerald. So am I prepared in case that does happen with an order from somewhere else?
Yep.
Abso-effing-lutely. So if I get a call from, let's say I'm ordering a lowboy. A lowboy is a container that collects trash, and it comes from a big truck that gets dropped. It's basically half a container. So imagine those big garbage dumpsters when you see them outside a commercial space. Well, imagine half that size. It's cut in half because it's easier to load up material there, right?
Yep.
Let's say something happens where the guy doesn't deliver it, or something broke, or blah, blah, blah. I have someone on standby on my phone. Hey, and I have made that call. I've made that call already saying, hey, if this guy doesn't show up at 8 o'clock, can you get one here by 10? Yes, Joe, we're a 24-hour operation. I can get it there at 10. If it's 8 o'clock, and call me right away. If it's not there at 8, I will have something there by 10. Boom, boom, boom. It's not, guys. Is it confirmed that Charlotte hit him up, Gerald?
Again, as far as they're denying it.
Let's say Peterson hit him up. By the way, Peterson is the general manager of.
The initial reports I told you days ago, Joe, from ESPN said that they approached Rob after Rob's statements about it being a dry center market, and that, of course, that Rob went out, according to the reports also as well, that he reached out to Detroit and whatnot. But according to reports, the initial reports days ago said that Charlotte was the one that approached him on Mark Williams. Now, that statement that they're making is saying something to the contrary. So again, it's going to be a he said type of deal in this case. That's up for the matter of public opinion to go ahead and talk about that. As far as this, it just seems shady. This just seems really shady, Joe, that they did something like this, knowing that there could be something really wrong. But in all this, and all the talk about the franchises, the fact that the Lakers still have assets, Joe, and this summer could be building in something even better. The fact that even still today, they have a team that has a chance to win the world championship still today. The thing is, I'm worried about this kid. I know he's on Charlotte now. I shouldn't have even thought. This kid, what about this kid right now? 23 years old, Joe. He is now, something came up that is obviously could be of concern for him. Could it be life-threatening? Could it be heart-related? Because we're assuming it's the legs. Could it be something as far as heart-related or something? They said it wasn't the back. So
No, they wouldn't have written that letter if it was something serious. That was an asshole trying to pull the wool on somebody, and then deflecting it.
Okay. So
or maybe Rob had buyer's remorse. But why would he do that? Did somebody get in his ear the last 6 hours? Because I remember seeing yesterday Sportsnet go, welcome Mark Williams. I thought it was over. And then you guys told me this morning, oh, by the way, they're holding them back. I'm like, what are you talking about? They just like made it official.
JJ said that trade was still, again, pending. The word pending was kind of very peculiar, Joe, that the trade was still pending.
All I know is when I see a graph like that says welcome Mark Williams from a reputable company like Sportsnet, Spectrum, that channel I watch practically every day because it's either a Laker game or any kind of post or pre-game news. I'm assuming at that point they already cleared that up. Why would they make that announcement? Somebody needs to talk to their communications department over there. That's a terrible mistake.
I mean, Larry announced tonight 6'11", 2 of 6 from 3. The thing is, he is getting the minutes, so my guess is Clint Capella could be the one that could be waived. and bought out as far as that's concerned, because he's not getting any time right now. Okongwu is the one that's starting, and then Nance is I guess, their guy off the bench. So if that's the case, Joe, we might have to look towards Clint Capella. But I want to get us back to Chris's question. Where would you go now? Basically, I want to go ahead and paraphrase here. Truly, again, appreciate close to 270 in this chat. Really, really appreciate you staying with us here at the Lakers Fast Break. Make sure you like and subscribe. 275, going to 275. Awesome, awesome. Great to have you here. Chris says, Joe and Gerald, what moves do you make if you're running this Laker organization? Right now, again, don't get too quick on trying to go after the first name that you see. Make sure it's getting the right buyout candidate before you let go Reddish, if you're able to, under that first tax apron, where they stand. So yeah, Joe, again, I would keep a keen eye on the buyout market. Right now, there's no real candidate out there that really moves the needle at all. But if Clint Capella becomes available, because he's not playing any time for the Hawks right now, that might be a possibility. I'll try to think of some others what from here, so we'll see. But OG Special says the Lakers realized trading Dalton was dumb. They found it out. I've been a big supporter of Dalton. Yes, his defense is terrible, but the fact that he is so explosive on offense, Joe, is something that was really hard for me to pass up as far as what I like about him as an individual for his future. If he even gets to the point, Joe, that he plays passable defense, we talked about him, about how between him and Christie, we just think his upside is that much better.
Folks, I want you guys to understand this real quick, okay? I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna read it down for you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We have a 25-year-old. We have a 27-year-old. We have 24-year-old. We have a 23-year-old now coming back in Dalton. You have a 26-year-old. You have a 28-year-old. You have a 25-year-old. The only one that's really old on this team is LeBron James at 40. And Dorian Finney-Smith is starting to get up there, but he's still 31. This is a very young team. A young team that's been performing very well. Very well, whether they've had AD, not had AD, had LeBron, not had LeBron. It's been performing. And JJ Redick has been getting these guys to perform, not only on offense where they're supposed to be good, they've been performing on defense. Their team defense has been very, very good for a while now. So with that, if you're gonna ride this without a specific buyout guy that might make a difference, let's just roll with what they have now. These guys are going to be able to put enough effort in a full game, a full series, due to the fact that they are young. They have the capability of handling it because they are young. And right now, they're showing that they're very skilled. And then you have LeBron James and Luka Doncic, two guys who have made their Hall of Fame careers into distributing a ball to players whom have been enhanced because of that. Okay, this is not Dennis Schroeder playing point guard, guys, anymore. You're going to have LeBron James and specifically Luka Doncic, in my opinion, will be the best NBA player, best basketball player in a year. And he would have been number one this year, had it not been for the Cavs. I had picked him as my MVP. The way he led Dallas to the finals last year, I know they got smoked in the finals, but that happens sometimes when the team game doesn't work. We saw Kobe go through that in 2004. We saw LeBron go through that in 2011. It happens. That's why this is a team game. Sometimes stuff happens. So you have Luka Doncic, who is, in my opinion, the best player on the planet in a year. You have LeBron James, who is a medical marvel. He's the Tom Brady of the NBA. Okay, let's just put it up there. You think he's going to retire. You think he's getting old. Then he proves that he's not. He proves that he can drop 42 and 17 on your ass, and there's nothing you can do about it. Now what? Okay. Well, LeBron, if you're going to keep playing like this, guess what? I'm just going to assume you're LeBron from the 10s, from the 2010s. I'm just going to do that because I'm not going to think about the age. He doesn't play like that. He does in spurts. He does in certain games because at some point, yeah, he hits the wall. However, he is not going to have to deal with the ball handling like he has in his entire career this year, possibly next year, because that's Luka Doncic's job. And on top of that, because Luka keeps having these injuries, a lot of it is because he is constantly being that guy all game long when he's in there. Now he's going to be able to scale back just a little bit because LeBron can do it too. We haven't seen this yet, guys. I'm basing this off of what I've seen Luka over here and LeBron there. But when you start putting 2 and 2 together, if these guys click, these guys, imagine having David Blaine and Chris Angel. I'm just using that as an example. I'm not saying they're magicians. I'm not saying they're in any way the same as far as personalities. I'm just saying there was a time where Chris Angel and maybe I want to use David Copperfield more. David Copperfield's probably more a bigger guy, like the big.
They perform right across the street from
So imagine those two guys. Yeah, David Copperfield and let's say David Blaine and David Copperfield. You have two of those guys, the most probably famous musicians that I know ever. That's who you have right now in LeBron and Luka. You gotta wait, folks. You have to wait for these guys to play. If these guys can do what we know they can do together, is it gonna really matter, Gerald? Is it gonna be like the Dodger thing this last year, where the offense was so dominant? It was so dominant, so effective that they rolled through everyone in the playoffs after game 3 of the NLDS. And then the only games they really lost were really the games that they had their bullpen pitching, right? And they even won with those guys, but in terms of having the bullpen sessions as a starter, right? So imagine this. Now let's shift it to the Lakers. You have the Lakers, who are bona fide going to be an offensive juggernaut, but their defense is a little suspect, right? That's kind of like how when the Dodgers went into the playoffs, they didn't have a number one pitcher, but they figured it out. They got through stuff. Why? Because they were dropping 10 runs, 9 runs, 8 runs. We might have that this year. It might be a basketball version of the 2024 Dodgers. Is it likely? It's basketball. It's different. Absolutely. But I told you, Gerald, if the seeding draws up a certain way, if the Lakers end up playing like Houston in the first round, Memphis in the second round, they really avoid a lot of the high pressure, really good teams like the Denver with the MVP, and then of course Oklahoma City until they get to the Western Conference Finals. And with that, I'll take my chances as a fan in seeing what LeBron and Luka will do in that series, in a 7-game series against those teams together. I think I'm not going to feel scared. I'm going to feel pretty confident. I'm going to say, hey, look, there's a chance here. Let's see what's there. But
we can't kick Capella, by the way. Again, he makes too much. So even if he is let go because he was out tonight due to personal reasons, which I also want to mention, Joe, before he got traded, Reddish had been out for personal reasons. So that's just tempting to keep an eye on as Reddish comes back to the team as well.
Well, we've been hard on a lot of the players. We've been hard on the management. I'm not gonna, I've kind of made a commitment here where I'm not gonna dog on anybody on the Lakers. I'm sorry, folks, if you're here for the first time and you're not gonna hear the rants like on the players and management like a lot of the people on here have. I'm done with that. Reddish, look, if he's having personal problems, maybe he should go take care of those and just call it a year at this point. I don't really know any other solution there. I really don't. I really honestly, Gerald, I'm not in any way concerned. I wasn't concerned with the trade. I'm not concerned without the trade. I was on this show for a few hours after the announcement of Luka Doncic coming to the Lakers, and I could not think. That was the first time in a very long time where my brain just could not function. It was weird. I could not think. It was unimaginable. Unimaginable. So how are you going to convince me that I'm going to worry about some guy named Mark Williams, who 99% of this country doesn't even know who he is? No disrespect to Mark Williams, but sure, he could have been good, but he also could have been bad. And guess what? Bunch of y'all would be in here yelling at Rob Pelinka going, what the hell were you thinking giving up Dalton Knecht? Because now Dalton Knecht just made the All-Star team for Charlotte, or he got traded to Atlanta, or he got traded to the Knicks and made the All-Star team. Who knows, right? Who knows? You're always wrong when you're wrong, and when you're right, you're the greatest thing ever, right?
Yeah.
And whether this was buyer's remorse or whether the Charlotte Hornets will try to pull a it's irrelevant at this point. You know why it's irrelevant? Because the Lakers got Luka Doncic. That's why. And the Lakers are going to be okay. The Lakers are going to be okay for a very long time, knock on wood, barring a catastrophe injury-wise to Luka Doncic. But that goes with everyone. You say that about Giannis. You say that about Jokic. If you watch how Luka plays, he's not a high flyer. You know, I heard this. I remember it like it was yesterday. What's going to happen to Chris Paul's knee in the next 5 years? I remember hearing this vividly in 2011 when the Lakers acquired him before it was vetoed. They were worried about his knee in 2011. He's still playing. He's not as good as he was, but he's still playing. So how bad was that knee? He played on that bad knee in an effective way at least 10 more years. And he was just a couple plays away in 2021 from winning it all. So I'm not going to sit here and stress about this kind of stuff, because what is there to stress about? Really? The Lakers, Rob Pelinka, management, everyone already opened up a decade's worth of a chance to compete. I'm going to tip my hat off. I don't have my hat with me here, but I'm going to tip my hat off to Rob Pelinka. If indeed he did smell a rat here and he killed it, good. Good. And Peterson in Charlotte, suck it. Your team will continue to suck like you do. And this Comic Sans, a.k.a. Dan Gilbert, crying like a little baby letter here. I mean, is it hilarious that letter? How does that not prove guilt? I'm not a psychologist. I'm not clinical. I mean, come on. Really? Did you have to put out that stupid announcement? We welcome back Mark. Oh, well, but those
and then
other
throw
guys
the Lakers under, and then throw the Lakers under the bus on top of it.
Yeah, if I'm Mark Williams, if I'm Mark Williams' agent, I'm like, dude, these guys are bitches. These guys are bitches. Play out your contract.
You know who the smartest people are, Joe? The smartest people are the people who bought Dalton Knecht jerseys, Laker jerseys, in the time frame when it was clearance. Right now, if you go to Dick's Sporting Goods, everyone, it is now on sale at half off, $60 for Dalton Knecht jerseys. So just want to let you know that some people haven't caught up with that yet, but I'm assuming maybe a couple people bought it in the past couple of days while it was on clearance and reduced.
Would you really buy a former player's jersey? $60 still sounds like a lot.
I'm just saying that, man. I'm just saying.
Good for them.
Maybe they're psychic. So there you go.
If they saw that they just wanted to get a Laker jersey with anybody's name on it, or maybe they thought maybe down the road, whoever wears number 4 that's relevant, we could just restitch the back.
Maybe, but still, yeah. It is Dalton Knecht coming back. The Mark Williams trade, just to get we're now 320 Large, thank you for joining us. It is the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you joining us. Please like and subscribe to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the Lakers Fast Break. Once again, breaking news, as we got over 320 people here in the chat now. Truly cannot thank you enough for being part of what we're doing. The news is, if you haven't heard already, the trade for Mark Williams between the Lakers and Charlotte has been rescinded. The physical that was done by the Lakers medical staff on Mark Williams, something came up. They're not saying specifically what yet, but it was not relating to Mark Williams's back issues. Could have been leg oriented. They're not specific as to what yet, but because of that, something of great concern was a red flag for the Lakers organization. So they have decided to go to the league office and say, we rescind this trade. So Dalton Knecht, Cam Reddish, the pick swap in 2030, and the 2031 unprotected pick all comes back to the Lakers, and Mark Williams goes back to Charlotte, Joe.
Mar, that's not true. I'm going to bring some statistics for you. I'll get back to you on that, Mar. LeBron never busted Kobe's ass, by the way. If you look at the statistics, it was actually the other way around. Kobe played on bad teams when LeBron was on the up. And when Kobe was on, he actually had a much higher field goal percentage than even LeBron. So
I'll tell you what, though, LeBron fans, Kobe fans, we'll bring them on here.
It's not a lie. It's out there. I'll get it for you. Don't worry. I got you.
We'll just please.
You're going to be marred with jealousy after I send what I'm sending you.
Okay, fair enough. But Lakers fans, Kobe fans, LeBron fans, we just appreciate everyone stopping by. Again, the news that just came down a little while ago from Shams Charania is that the trade for Mark Williams for Dalton Knecht, Cam Reddish, and a pick swap and a first-round pick has been rescinded due to a medical condition, a red flag that came up in the physical that was done for Mark Williams here with the Lakers. So I'm assuming it was at the Lakers facility at El Segundo. Joe, I mean, again, while Mark Williams fit a need as a young, possibly developing center that could really help the Lakers long term, whatever it is that came up, Joe, was so concerning to the Lakers brass. It just maybe shows that maybe he does not have a long tenure after all. I'm hoping I'm wrong. Hoping this kid has a great career and a great life. But yeah, something up in there as far as the medicals said something was very wrong, Joe.
Well, Sharon, I don't know if this is a provable offense. Charlotte could just say, we don't know. We called them up and said, hey, do you want this? They said no, yes. And then they changed their mind. They probably don't have any evidence to emails, or I doubt. I mean, I know there's stupid people out there. For all I know, maybe they are, but I doubt they're on an email like Chucky, John Gruden, going, "Hey, let's trick the Lakers into taking this deal." Barring something like that, I don't think there's anything to prove. Although, if you line up things, and of course, if Pelinka starts dropping some feeds out there, which I don't know. He couldn't. I don't know. If he starts dropping some stuff out there where it gets out where, hey, Charlotte tried to do this, you're going to have some owners going, hey, man, they're going to talk to Peterson and go, hey, you better not pull that stuff you pulled out with the Lakers. And by the way, we want this and this, otherwise we're out. But we'll see. We'll probably get more information here in the next day or so because it's kind of quiet right now in the NBA.
Then again, that is Dick's.
I'm sorry, Gerald. Isn't every replica jersey like $60, $70 anyways?
The NBA store
has when it's
for
$20.
NBA store has them for $80 right now. Just to let you know,
that's a normal price for a replica, isn't it?
No, well, this one is again $20 less than that. So, if you're interested, guys, Dalton is a Laker once again, and I'm sure whoever's running the website, Joe, who's ever running the website's probably off for the Super Bowl, so they probably won't adjust it for another till Monday.
Well, I'm underway on my Black Mamba Jokic. Jeez, I'm on my way for my Black Mamba Luka jersey. It's already in its first stages. So you guys are going to see what will be likely the baddest jersey you'll probably see this side of the Mississippi. I'm kind of far from the Mississippi, though.
And now, Mar, again, we appreciate your input and what you're bringing. Again, that it's the same kind of argument that people have had with LeBron and Jordan and all that. It's your opinion. It's absolutely you're respected, but whether or not the facts lay out either which way, again, I'll let Joe go ahead and look that up. But yeah,
How old are you, Mar?
always-
How old are you, Mar? Tell me how old you are. And I'm not going to argue. If you've watched LeBron and Kobe and you think that LeBron's better, that's not going to be an argument. I don't really care about
cool,
that.
bro. I'm just saying, Cool Bro asked a good question. I know you tolerate Cool Bro at times, but Cool Bro asking, should I get a Luka or Reeves jersey?
Luka.
This is a great concern. The reason why I say that's a good question is because how long do you think Reeves, after you saw him perform so well today, got his career high today? How long do you think the Lakers will try to keep him? Because they know in the not too distant future, they'll have to extend him. They'll have to extend him at a pretty high price. And this team could become rather expensive. Do you commit to a Reeves or do you commit to something else long-term, Joe, to go alongside Luka?
Well, the Lakers are going to have to decide on whether they want to pay what would be ideally the best six-man in the NBA on a championship team.
Mm-hmm.
It's very likely, and you saw, if you all watched the Lakers today, you saw that Reeves, when he is the first option, this is what he can do. Now, you can use that off the bench. He can be that guy with all of the bench guys and playing against the second-tier players on the opposing team. This is where he will flourish. However, they played starters today, so it even added even more intrigue to that, because you're not going to be able to. Reeves is not going to be able to control the basketball the way he did today if you've got Luka and LeBron there. He will in spurts, but I'd rather have Reeves doing this for 6 straight minutes at the beginning of second quarters and at the beginning of fourth quarters. Because now what you're going to have is, if you've got Luka and LeBron playing the first quarter, whether it's staggered minutes where they take out LeBron with like 9 minutes into the first, doesn't matter. As long as you have those two guys in there, they're going to be controlling the basketball. And then in the second quarter, maybe LeBron comes back in, but he doesn't have to take care of the ball. He can kind of just float around and be the striker. And then that's where Austin Reeves does his thing. It's a good problem to have. The other thing is Reeves going to command $30 million a year? Shoot, if he's going to play anything like he did today, he's not going to do it every game. But if he's going to be that kind of threat, game in and game out, and at this point, I'm not going to argue against it. Yeah, there are worse players than Reeves collecting $30 million. All you got to do is move to Portland and see it over there. In my book, maybe not athletically, but right now, yeah, I'll take Austin pretty much against everyone there except maybe Scoop.
So
and
that's
Simon. I'm sorry, and Simon. Sorry, I can't forget about Simon.
So which
anyways,
direction do you think you would go with as far as if a buyout candidate becomes available? Again, Capella out with personal reasons. Maybe he's
I don't want
told
Capella.
that he might.
Capella's done. I don't want.
But he's too expensive. He's too expensive anyway.
He's too expensive. Yeah. The only one that I can think of right now that's doable and eligible is Larry Nance Jr. But I don't know why they would drop him. I have to see.
He's playing too well right now.
Yeah, I'd have to see them drop him. I don't believe
unless his reps ask for it. If his reps,
yeah.
Those type of deals, because if his reps ask, hey, we want to go ahead and play for a real playoff contender because Atlanta's still under 500, that's something that maybe he might request. So we'll definitely have to see if that happens or materializes. Some of these other guys too, they might be in the same boat where they're with teams that don't have a real shot at making the playoffs or doing well in the playoffs. So they're going to be asking, their reps are going to be asking those teams, hey, can we work on a buyout so we can go ahead and my player, the player that my client can go ahead and find a team that does have a chance this year to go ahead and make some real noise in the playoffs, Joe.
Sharon wrote this, and I'm curious to know if this is likely the case here, because more and more noise is coming out that the owners of the Mavericks did not want to pay Luka $350
Oh, it's very
million.
unsettling. If you're even a top player, Sharon, that's a good point, Sharon. I appreciate you bringing that up. If you're out there and you are a top, let's say outside of Jokic, Joe. I think Jokic is fairly safe, if anybody is. But let's say outside of that, you have to feel unsettled, a little bit unsettled, Joe. Let's say you're like a top 15 player, 20 player, but you may have had some injury history, Joe. You've got to be thinking to yourself right now, that may happen to me too.
So if arguably the best player on the planet, at least top 3, is not worth 350, then who is?
You also have to look at the organization.
And why do it this way? Why conduct yourself this way? Why conduct yourself in this manner? Why not just open up?
Yay,
hey, we're not going to sign.
Subscriber.
Thank you, Johnson. Why go this route? Are you even trying to win? And someone had pointed out on another feed I was listening to before the announcement came out, before we got on air, why would this ownership want to go to Vegas when the market is 10 times better in Dallas? This is a team that had the highest attendance in the NBA. It doesn't make any sense. This is where Adam Silver needs to come in and go, what the F are you doing if that is the case? We don't know that. It might just simply be we're idiots without them saying it, and we're not paying this guy the money. Figure out another way. I don't know what else to think. Every time you think you're surprised at how stupid people are, folks, don't be surprised.
And even in Jokic's case, Joe, doesn't matter if he's the best player on the planet or if he's been the best player this decade. I'm sure there's people saying yes or no there, but most part, how can you argue with all the MVPs he's gotten? What team does he play for, Joe? Denver.
They don't care about it. These people that are buying these teams now. Okay, so here, I'll break it down for you. It used to be family-owned teams, mainly, right? Teams that families owned the professional teams. Then when society started to get a little more advanced, a little bit more rich, a little bit more capital, those guys got phased out. The Tex Strams, the Paul Browns, now the Mark Cubans, all those old guys. It's a little easier to be a family-owned business in the NFL because the TV contracts guarantee billions. It's not like that in the NBA and Major League Baseball. It's a struggle to get all the teams paid the same way. It's not how those sports work. There's not enough money like they do. They don't have that. They don't have NFL money. They don't have network money like the NFL does. So you have now, instead of the first phase of the corporate business, which is what the Mark Cubans were, the new internet billionaire type guys. Now you have guys that are probably sitting on 20 billion, 10, 15 billion, not just 2 or 3 billion. Now you got to compete in a whole different way. And then if you have other businesses, because you have all those billions, now you're going to want to intertwine those things. And it's comical that this ownership is, and what have we been talking about on this show for the last few months about gambling? These assholes in the NBA keep propping up, and all the other leagues too, keep propping up gambling, and then wonder why their guys are getting caught gambling and being hypocrites about it. And then you let an owner who owns a casino, which isn't something that hasn't happened. The Maloofs own the casino. They own the Palms when they own the Sacramento Kings. That's fine. But you never heard anything going on fishy with the Maloofs. As soon as the Palms started dipping down, whatever money was going down, the economy right after the '08 crash, guess what? They ended up selling the team. Kevin Johnson, who was the mayor at the time in Sacramento, pulled every string he could because that's where he was from. Kevin Johnson was the all-star from the Phoenix Suns guard. He was a guard for his Phoenix Suns. He ended up somehow voodooing the city and keeping the Sacramento Kings there by building a new stadium. So fast forward to now. You now have opened up gambling to everything except players. They can't even sniff at a lottery ticket without getting in trouble, right? But it's okay for you to throw up all the DraftKings and all the BS. Then you let these clowns own the Dallas Mavericks. And then now there's nothing but rumors about how they're trying to sabotage the Mavericks so that they can move them to Vegas. Why? Why the hell would you move them to Vegas? Why would that even be an idea when you have one of the best places to have basketball in Dallas? Stupid. It's stupid, and it's a waste of time. But I'm not angry. Why the hell would a Laker fan be angry at how stupid these people are? The Lakers got Luka Doncic, folks. He hasn't even played a game yet. Wait a little bit. Let's see what these guys can do. And then at the end of the year, if everything blows up, then you could come back and say, hey, man, I told you that deal that not going through screwed them up. Okay, yeah, you were right. I don't know what to tell you. But even if that does happen, who cares? We weren't even going to win anything this year. We were not going to win a championship this year. We were not. I don't care if AD was dropping 40 and 20 the rest of the way. I don't care if LeBron was dropping 42 and 17. They did not have enough. They just didn't because they've showed they don't. But now it's different. Now you got a completely different player that's going to be running this thing. And the Lakers are going to have a chance to enhance it better with the assets coming back now and possibly keeping a future star. I don't know, maybe. And then going back and looking at this and going, holy crap, thank God that trade didn't go through. You know who said that, Gerald? You know who said that in 1995? Do you remember this? Let's see if you remember the trade between Detroit and Houston. You remember that trade?
Which Detroit-Houston trade in 1995?
Sean Elliott was being traded
A
for Robert
subscriber.
Horry. So Sean Elliott was going to go to Houston.
By the way, thank you, Gervis. Appreciate you subscribing. And yes, seeing Moses Brown as the G League Player of the Month, if he's available, he should be an option for the Lakers as well. He did play for them in Summer League. I watched him personally. I didn't think it was so bad for him, even though he was someone that did get too many minutes on the Lakers Summer League team. But he's the G League Player of the Month, averaging well more than a double-double. So it's something absolutely you have to consider at 7'2", 250, Joe. He's had
Basketball players are not hard to gauge. If he was worth his salt, he would be playing already. The trade for Sean Elliott fell through.
Mm-hmm.
Horry went back to Houston, and you all remember, I guess some of you might remember, maybe not. That's when the Rockets ended up going back-to-back. And Robert Horry, in that final series of the sweep against Orlando, you're going to give the MVP to Hakeem Olajuwon, but he was absolutely lethal. He hardly missed in that series. So there is a history of deals not going through and ending up working out. And the funny thing about certain deals like that, it's not the same situation as this, but Horry, coincidentally, a few years later ended up getting traded to the Lakers because he threw a towel in the coach's face. And that, coach, folks, Danny Ainge. I usually side with management and coaching because it's so hard to coach these arrogant a-holes. Yes, they were even arrogant in the 90s. This is not a 2025 problem. But Ainge is a different beast. Ainge is from the same ilk, or I should say Rick Carlisle today is the same ilk. He's kind of in that same category of a Danny Ainge. They get under your skin so much you want to punch him in the face. But instead of punching him in the face, he threw a towel. I think that would have been less, I guess, consequential. Great crowd here tonight, guys.
Yes,
Nice
absolutely.
to see. I knew we would get a good crowd tonight. I know because a lot of people are looking at Laker topics out there, but we are growing, folks. We have been growing a lot here the last few weeks. The Luka Doncic acquisition obviously helped as well, but we were starting to build a pretty big crowd here. We've been around for a while though, but I know at some point there's going to be a little button that's going to finally go whoosh, and it
But
looks
the
like
thing
it's
is,
starting to
again,
happen.
Gervis, again, appreciate you putting that out there on Moses Brown. Again, from what I saw in the summer league, the Lakers weren't giving him that many minutes coming off the bench. He was a late addition to the Lakers summer league team. I know that they already had Castleton playing the bulk of the minutes in summer league, but yeah, I mean, again, out of all the options that they have, if Larry Nance doesn't become available, I know Chris Boucher has always been talked about as well as far as a possible buyout candidate. It's something you may want to consider, unless you really want to go back to Mo Bamba, Joe.
No. If you're going to get a center, I have to look at the list. I said that at the beginning of the show. I can't.
Yeah, JSJ sent the list. I heard you. I heard you, and I almost pulled over to the curb and started
I
throwing
can't.
up.
I can't. No Mo Bambas, no
Just kidding,
stiffs.
JSJ.
The Lakers, unfortunately, already have a couple guys on the team that don't move very well.
Biombo just signed a 10-day with San Antonio, I believe. So
Good
he's
for
not
him.
available.
I don't want Biombo either. That guy can't. No. The Lakers are going to have to play small ball the rest of the way, and they're going to have to be like menacing psychopaths on a team defensive standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just what it's got to be. And Jokic, folks, it doesn't matter if you brought back Hakeem Olajuwon in his prime. No one can contain Jokic. No one. In terms of getting what he wants. So what you got to do is you got to shut everybody else out. Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, these guys. Jamal Murray has been killing us with his clutch play at the end of games. Michael Porter Jr. doesn't freaking miss from 3 when he plays the Lakers. Those are the two things you need to stop. You stop those two things, and you'll be in better shape. Now, it's going to be kind of indirectly. It's going to go indirectly a little bit on how to stop those guys, because now Jamal Murray is going to probably have to focus on Luka now instead of having to worry about just AD, because AD has got his game against teams like that. It was good when he had the right perimeter defenders. He didn't have to worry about doing more than one thing, maybe even more than two things. It's not his fault, really. If the roster construction of the Lakers in his defense was only right for a couple of years. After that, it just never was set up for him. And that's part of why he could never be a 1. Everything had to be set up in a really, really, really good way for AD to truly bring out his talent. Now, you could say that about a lot of players, right? But I never felt like AD made up for not getting what he wanted. He just couldn't be better unless those things were available to him. So with that, you fast forward to Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic can win without things. If you give him some things, he can really win. If you get him really what he wants, you're not only going to win, you're going to win for a long time. And this is the Lakers, folks. This isn't Denver. Obviously, it's not Dallas. It's not the Charlotte Hornets. The Lakers will pay money if they win. Jeannie just proved that she works like her dad for the first time I've ever seen. So if you're worried about, is Reeves going to get his extension? Are they going to pay him too much money? Sure, they're not going to pay everybody $40 million a year. However, if they feel that Reeves can keep improving or getting better or be an integral part of a championship team, Oh, you damn well better believe they're going to give them the money, because guess what? If the payroll ends up going to $250 to $300 million and they're winning championships, I don't think anybody gives a damn, because the more the Lakers win, the more money they make. And then you have likely the number one player on the planet. So how many times have the Lakers, I'm going to use, since Magic Johnson came to the league, how many times have they won the championship? They won 11 championships since 1980 through now. How many times have they won those championships and had the number one player on the planet?
Good point.
I would say probably at the very least maybe 60 to 70% of the time. Whether it was Magic, whether it was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in 1980, whether it was Shaq in 2000, whether it was Kobe in 09 and 2010, whether it was LeBron or AD in 2020. I mean, there's arguments to that. People will say, well, Giannis was better in 2020. Okay, I'll roll with that. But more often than not, the Lakers have the best player on the planet when they're winning the championships. And there's no doubt that if the Lakers win championships this year, next year, and the year after that, or the year after that, I should say, it's very likely that Luke is the number one player, probably winning MVPs.
Again, Joe, as I told you before, and I've told everyone out there, and again, if you're just joining us, welcome to the Lakers Fast Break. We're here over 300 days a year talking Lakers in the NBA. Please like and subscribe. You'd be glad you did. We are very opinionated, but we're also know our stuff when it comes to the Lakers in the NBA. I'll just say this, Joe, again, in a 7-game series, in a playoff series, the Lakers with Luka and LeBron playing like we know Luka can, and like we've seen LeBron in these past couple weeks, they are playing, they both can play at such a level, Joe, that despite the defensive issues, despite the positional concerns, the Lakers, if those two are hot in a series, they can take over series and are competitive against any other team in the NBA. I didn't say they could beat every other team in the NBA yet, but they will be competitive and can pull off an upset against any team in the NBA. Boston, OKC, Cleveland, they do have a chance. They stand a chance now. That window with AD and LeBron, as we said, Joe, 1 week ago, was closed. We thought it was closed. That window for a championship, even in the structure that they are now, is open for the Lakers. And I think Lakers fans should really be excited for that.
Yeah, no doubt. There's no doubt. You should not have any doubt as a Laker fan right now in the future of the Lakers. And anything can happen that's out of our control, out of management's control, from an injury standpoint, from a player deciding that maybe they want to retire, who knows, whatever. We can't control those things. But as it sits now, the Lakers extended a window that's going to be about 10 years wide. When before last Saturday, it was a giant question mark on what the Lakers were going to do. If LeBron doesn't win another championship here this year, or decides to retire next year, it's okay, guys. It's okay. We have the transcendent transitional player already. And guys, he's going to be 26 in, I think, 20 days. 26. And this is not a guy that jumps out the building. This isn't John Morant. This isn't Allen Iverson that rely on their athletic ability to be who they are. This is a guy that's cerebral, that's cunning, that's got an IQ out the charts. He is going to play for longer than 10 more years. He loves basketball. Did you ever see that, Gerald, when he was pissed and he ripped his jersey? Guys, there's not a lot of those guys left. Forget about the skills for a second. And imagine on top of the skill how this is the competitiveness. You know what, LA? So LA gets up. I'm going to say this about LA. The only problem with LA really is it's the leaders that are in charge, but I won't get into that. Everything away from that, get that away for a minute. LA, you know why they loved Kobe, Gerald? They
Why's that?
loved Kobe. You know how much they loved Kobe? When that pissant in Phoenix clotheslined him, Rajah Bell, you know he got death threats? He got death threats. That's how much LA loves Kobe. Not just loved, loves Kobe. Why? Because Kobe was a grinder. And as flamboyant and as Hollywood as LA is, guys, that's a small community. It's kind of like Italians in the mafia, right? Less than 5% of the Italian population in America is associated with some kind of whatever, right? But all the other 95 are judged on that when people find out. It's just what life is. It's how life works sometimes, right? So LA is the same thing. LA is a place where Hollywood dominates. But you forget about the people that I know, that millions of people there that work hard, that have families, have children, and work every day, and grind and do all they can to make it, right? Well, they loved Kobe because that's who he was. They loved Magic because as much as he was Hollywood and Showtime, Magic grind and he grind and he grind. And that's why they're loved in LA. Doncic loves basketball. He loves to win, and he's emotional. And my God, he is, God willing, please, he stays healthy for the next decade. Y'all gonna see it. You're gonna see some banners go up because history says when you have the best, you're gonna win rings, whether it's 1, whether it's 2, whether it's 3, or whether it's 5. They're gonna win rings. Get ready for it. It's coming.
Logan in the super chat, $5, truly appreciate it. Again, it helps out the channel so much. We also have memberships available for as low as $2.99 a month. That gets you videos, shorts, articles, and also emojis, badges right there for you as well from the Lakers Fast Break. Again, $2.99 a month if you want to go ahead and sign up for that. But Logan in the super chat, truly appreciate you doing so. Braun really wants to tie or pass MJ with 6 chips. Now he has the chance because his favorite player, Luka, who is third all-time in points per game at 28.6, just landed with the Lakers, Joe. That's something to keep in mind. We talked about before. It's funny because how you've transitioned from the start of the season, really frustrated with what was going on with LeBron, the issues with Bronny, drafting him on the team, et cetera, you and a lot of other people out there that just wanted him gone ASAP. Now it's evolved into, Joe, if he makes the right moves this offseason, maybe ask for less. The Lakers can sign not only one player as far as for a center, they can sign somebody else that can help contribute as well. This could be a run, Joe, that might have him staying that supposed 5 to 7 more years that he had talked about not too long ago, Joe.
I'm gonna live in the moment at this point.
No, I'm just saying, but where we've come from to where we are now.
Yeah, I think what would have to happen. I think what would have to likely happen is because you have to also factor in as a Laker fan and watching LeBron. Maybe LeBron is going to have a different thought process than us. He's defying everything health-wise as a basketball player, and no one is even close. I mean, there was at some point a couple of years ago, but right now he's blowing that out the water. Even Kareem, and as great as he was, you really couldn't compare. But at the same time, Kareem played 4 years in college too, so you didn't really know. He in his 16th year in the NBA, which would have been 20 years, much like LeBron at one point. He was winning Finals MVP in '85. So LeBron, you don't know when that wall comes. And based off of what's happened here, for him to go into next season and going, you know what? I think I want to play more. I think I'm going to extend another year to see if we can win it in 2026 and maybe 2027. Sure. I think he's going to have that option, but is it going to make sense for the Lakers? Because one thing that I haven't heard at all in the last week, Gerald.
What's that?
Have you heard anything from Clutch?
Not really that much.
Hardly anything. So I have a theory on this, and this is why I'm probably not going to get on Jeannie anymore, even more. Jeannie looks like she's the type of person that goes, okay, go ahead. I'll give you a chance. Much like her dad. Her dad did the same thing in the early 80s when he hired his daughter, when he bought the team in the early 80s, when he hired his daughter, hired his sons, he said, hey, here, show me what you got. Show me what you can do. Good luck. If you need help, let me know. I'll do my best to help you. Go make a career. Go do something good and come back and tell me what's up. And she did that. And let's give Clutch a hand here. They ended up pulling away AAD from New Orleans. He comes to LA. They win a championship. All is good. But then after that, things started to slowly regress. And nothing was able to get fixed. And then finally, Jeannie, like probably her dad, when Johnny and Jim and those guys were probably screwing up in the 80s in other businesses with them, all of a sudden it's like, you know what? It looks like you guys are a little overwhelmed. I'm going to start doing my own stuff again. We got Luka Doncic. You guys, we take care of it from here. So maybe they look at this LeBron thing a little different now than they did maybe even a year ago. How the year ends is going to dictate so much. And it does in every season in a lot of ways, but really this year especially. Because you're going to get a chance to see how LeBron and Luka play. And you're going to see how the young guys like Rui, like Austin, like Gabe Vincent, like Jackson Hayes, like Vanderbilt, we're going to get a chance to see if these guys all are worth their salt with this particular lineup. If they're not, they get bounced in 7 in the second round. Let me ask you this, Gerald. If the Lakers play well and they get bounced in 7 in the second round, would you consider this not as a Laker fan, but would you consider it somewhat of a positive ending, considering how it flipped 3 months earlier?
I still consider it positive because, again, the
me too.
future.
Yeah.
Because the things did not look well, guys, out there. I mean, it's always another star is eventually going to be here in LA. Another star is going to eventually drop in our laps. It did in this case. But, Joe, 1 week ago, things for the future after LeBron and AD, we had to start thinking about the future for this team, Joe, after LeBron and AD, and it looked kind of tenuous. It looked like, in a way or two, that it could very much revert back to not that long ago in Lakers history when the Lakers were really a substandard team on a year-by-year basis. But you know what? Now that we have Luka, we have a future. We have a path going forward, Joe. That's all we want as Lakers fans, a path to that world championship. That's what we want. We want to see that we have an eligible path to go get number 18 and then number 19, number 20, and so on. And with Luka coming in to the Lakers, we now have that chance. As long as he stays healthy, as long as he stays a member of the Lakers, we have that chance now, Joe. 18, 19, and 20 does not seem so far-fetched as it once did 7 days ago.
And the Lakers got Shaq in his the Lakers acquired Shaq at 24 years old. And he had just turned 24 in March of 1996. It wasn't he was 24, then he turned 25 that August. So it took a minute for him to get set up because Shaq didn't really know how to win in the NBA, and Kobe was still young, and Eddie Jones and Nick Van Exel and all these guys were still kind of stuck in the mid 1990s, right? But then once they got the right, I guess, maestro, they reeled off 3 straight championships. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that you got Shaq at a young age, you got Kobe at a really young age, you're getting Luka at a very young age. This isn't Wilt trying to win a championship in LA. This isn't Kareem trying to win a championship with now Magic coming in. So Magic came in as the young guy, right? Magic came in as the young guy, arguably the best player in the 80s, and he ended up winning 5. Shaq, young guy coming to the Lakers, ended up winning 3. Luka coming in young, winning. Will he win 3? Will he win 2? Or will he win 1 like AD? Either way, they all won. Now, it would be a disappointment. I'm not gonna. It's not a greed thing. If Luka plays another 10 years for the Lakers and only wins 1 championship, it would be somewhat kind of puzzling in that he probably should have won more based off his talent, based off the fact that the Lakers are a team that usually is someone that can equip that star with what they need to win more.
Mm-hmm.
But they still would have won. He still goes into the Hall of Fame as a champion, still has a great career. There's a lot of guys that have had great careers that didn't win 1. Karl Malone, John Stockton, Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing. A lot of guys. But what if he wins 3? Okay, now you're looking at a Lakers organization between 2025 and 2035, let's say, if it's within that 10-year window, where they're sitting at 20 championships now, winning 30% of the time. I mean, is that anybody really going to argue that? Probably not. Winning 3 championships in 10 years? The Sacramento Kings haven't won a championship since they were in Rochester, New York in 1951. Milwaukee's won 2 championships since 1971. Lakers have won 11. So yes, put it in perspective. So yeah, it's Mr. We only care about championships. Yeah, I know. I knew somebody was going to pull that one out of their hair.
Well, again, that sounds like you, Joe. We do care about is championships.
I do care about championships, but I'm also a realist, Sharon. Okay, if Luka had started the year with the Lakers, then yeah, I would have expected more. But they didn't.
Let me just say this. Let me say. Remember, we were getting on other individuals recently because they were saying that we only have these high expectations for the Lakers, and because they were happy where the Lakers were at. They were a competitive team. They weren't going to win a championship, but they're going to have a positive above 500 record. They were happy with that, and we were saying they were complaining about us because we are being held, or we're holding the Lakers to a higher standard. Is it selfish? Is it Lakers exceptionalism? Is it spoiled? Whatever you want to call it. It is just something when you win 17 championships, Joe, you're used to seeing the Lakers at their very best.
I guess I've been here for 4 hours already today. I could go into more detail on that, but I don't think it's going to matter. I think some people have just made up their minds that they'll interpret something a certain way, and I'm not going to fight it. It's you're comparing apples to oranges. Okay, you're comparing our thirst for winning when you've had AD, who's still in his prime, with LeBron, maybe not in his prime, but pretty damn effective. But he's making 2016 LeBron money. You're supposed to win when you have those guys and they've been playing together for a long time. Right now, it's different, guys. Luka hasn't even played a game yet. You can't expect a championship now. It's common sense. They can compete. They were gonna compete even with AD, but weren't likely gonna win. The reason why I said they might have a chance now is because I don't have any doubt that Luke is a different kind of beast because he controls the ball. He controls the
Yeah.
offense. He controls a game. AD doesn't necessarily control the game the same way. He can control it on defense to a certain degree, but in today's NBA, you can't control like you did, let's say, when Hakeem was playing in his prime. And I was as good as Dikembe was. He never really, he never really was able to do that either. It's just a different life that we're living right now, from last week. Matter of fact, it happened right around now, right?
Yes.
It was like 8:30 in our time or something. But I fully expect them to compete for a title for sure next year.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
I think they'll be equipped to do it.
Jeremy, I was saying, is that first touchdown or most touchdowns? Because first touchdown, that's the most played on prop, or one of them in the at Super Bowl here in Las Vegas. But are you asking for that as far as Joe's thoughts on a first touchdown or most touchdown anytime? That's strange. Kelsey, I'd say you go Kelsey. Worthy. What do you have, Joe, as far as Barkley?
For the first touchdown?
No, he said any touchdown. I don't know what kind of bet he'd be making if that's the case. But yeah, first touchdown, you want to probably look at Kelsey, Worthy, or Barkley as my options as far as that's concerned. But yeah,
I'm going to go.
Maybe Schuster.
I would rather, because Jalen Hurts tends to stop at the one. I think tush push would be ideal to put the bet on the
Good
first
point.
touchdown.
Very
And
good
in
point.
Super Bowl 57, the first touchdown was scored by the Eagles.
Yeah, that's a good point. Very good. Very good point. So yeah, Jeremy, I mean, those are all viable options there for you. So yeah. But and I tell you what, though, I am very excited, Joe, still for the future. I don't see this as a negative. I see this as a smart move by Rob Pelinka. Something came up as a red flag in the medicals. You've got to make the call, Joe. I understand the ramifications short term on it. I said for the Lakers last week when they got Luka to go all in, they made a move that signaled all in plus something for the future. But if something that's there on the medicals, Joe, that looks like it may hamper his short and long term ability to stay on the floor, you got to go ahead and make the call, Joe, on keeping, that trade, rescinding that trade, and then bringing back Dalton Knecht.
I don't know who Dalton Knecht is. I don't know if he's the type. I'm getting a feeling he's not the type that's going to resent the team. My instinct
Good
said
kid.
that.
I told you I saw him. I
Yeah.
saw him live at the Summer League. How he interacted with fans, family, his teammates. I think he's a good kid. He understands this is a business. He's an older rookie, so he gets it. I think he'll be fine, Joe. And the first time he gets feeds from Luca and LeBron and he scores 20 in a game, I think he'll be all right, Joe. I think he'll be all right.
I would side with more of the fact that he's probably coming back and kind of taking a deep breath. Thank God I'm not playing in Charlotte. I'm back to LA to play with this number one show
But
on the
the
road.
point is, though, he'll get more time and shots in Charlotte, but now he's going to be playing on a real winning team.
Yeah. He's going to have to pick up the pace on defense. And do you think that the reason why he struggles on defense is because he's a rookie and
He's just not forced. He does not play with force. I love him as a basketball player, but you see, he does not play with force.
It looks like he's thinking too much on the court, right?
But let's flash back to the Philadelphia game, Joe. Do you remember he gets a rebound on the defensive end? He holds it, and I forget which Philadelphia player it was, came right up to him, literally just grabbed it, like he had it for at least a second. So you think he had it secure. Philadelphia player came up and literally grabbed it away from him, like a adult to a child, taking a toy away from a child, and put it in. he has to play with more force, strength, and energy. He plays very passive on defense. He's a good rebounder. He does have traits, athleticism. He does have athleticism. And again, he has the scoring ability. People have maligned us at length, especially Rodell, about why we preferred Knecht over Christie all these months. Is because of the fact that we see that there is a huge scoring potential with Knecht. Knecht that has that explosive ability that I don't think Christie has. Christie is going to be a solid rotation player in this league. I said it before, and I'll say it again. He is going to be a solid rotation player in this league, and I'm wishing him years and years of success. I just think Knecht has that capability, Joe, if he gets to even a passable defensive. I'm not talking about, average or above. I'm not talking about him doing a 2020 Kuzma, going from a matador to, someone that they brought in for a defensive stopper. I'm talking about just a player who could get even passable defensively. His shot is to be feared, Joe, and playing alongside Luka and LeBron as an outlet, if he can be consistent with that, I think it could really help the Lakers, especially when they need it the most.
Joe Q, yes.
Yes, there will be.
There will be. Who? I don't know. I don't know. And I don't think it's going to be Kessler either. I keep seeing Kessler on the block.
Jimmy Butler did have a good game in his first game with Golden State, Ty. So
they're going to be in the first apron, so they're not going to have a chance to get the full MLE either. God, I hate that. I really hate that they did stuff like that with this new CBA. So it'll be much easier with the assets they got back, and if there's a really good trade that's on the table, and it means maybe trading Rui or somebody like that, I'm sure they'll look into it as well. It really will depend on how they're still going to get a center no matter what this summer. How they approach it will depend on how this year ends. Because what if, just for the sake of discussion, what if they win it all? Now what? What do they do now?
What if they trade one of their picks to try and get into this year's draft?
I don't think they want to depend on a rookie going in next year on a player that they need.
Okay.
I don't think they want to do that. They're not in a position. If they want to do that and say, let's just say their scouting department goes, dude, you guys got to get this guy. He's perfect for Luka in the next 2 to 3 years. Yeah, I could see something like that. But that's not going to help them win next year. It's going to take a minute to start that up.
Absolutely. So we will see what happens, my friend. But yeah, that's the latest news so far. Let me go ahead and I'll put it on the ticker here in just a sec. But Joe, yeah, absolutely, just such a such an interesting news day, my friend. Lakers won without LeBron or Luka in the lineup, and they end up bringing back Dalton Knecht.
And it looks like this will be the last time we see this lineup without Luka and LeBron for a while. It would take both getting injured to not see it, so that's a good thing. I hope I don't see it ever. But again, I wanted to thank everyone for being here. We had a huge crowd, a lot of newbies. We're around for a few hours too.
Still got 170, my friend.
No, yeah. Hey, look, it's got to entertain the crowd, man. We're here to entertain. And if people want to listen to what you have to say, you better be prepared to do it. No one wants to hear about how you're tired. No one wants to hear about how you got other things to do. No one wants to hear about how you got to go walk the dog. None of that matters. Okay, do that on your own time. We're here now to talk basketball. It's an important segment that will define.
Yay! A subscriber.
Thanks, Dave. It will affect what happens in the 2025 NBA season. And just the fact that that is even a discussion right now is fun for me.
So
Hey,
how are you again, Joe? I know you said it, but in long form, just real briefly, how do you feel right now, seeing what's gone down with this rescinded trade?
I don't feel anything negative or positive. I'm indifferent.
Hmm.
I can't get out of I just can't get out of the euphoria of what's coming on Monday. I'm gonna see Luka Doncic playing for the LA Lakers. And we're not this isn't Luka Doncic when he's 35 either. It's still hard to register that. And what's made it even more exciting is the way the Lakers have been playing for the last 2 weeks. It's just it's just we've been waiting for a while here, and I know, man, this NBA fan bases are probably looking at this and going, "You piece of garbage, you greedy, you guys got 6 titles in the last 25 years and storied franchise, 17 world championships, 32 finals appearances, 34 division wins in your career, all that crap." Well, folks, the Lakers are the Yankees of the NBA. What do you want me to do? I didn't pick the Lakers. I was thrusted into it. I was around it as a young kid. Didn't know any better. Here we are. I've put a lot of. If you put if you put a cassette or a CD or a hard drive or whatever era you're in, and I use those examples because that's what those were back in the day: cassettes, CDs, hard drives now, right?
Yep.
Cloud now too. If I added all the minutes and the hours that I've dedicated to watching the Laker team the last 34 years, people would probably laugh that are not into what we do. Like, you've spent 4, 5, 6 years of your life when you add up all those hours. I don't think it's that much, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You've spent, let's say, 3 years of your life just watching basketball. Well, what's the alternative? What could I have done? I still work out. I still have a family. I still have friends. I still go to vacations. I still work. What else would I have done in that time, Gerald? Flick my
Commit.
balls? Like what? What would I have done?
Knowing you, anything is possible at this point in time.
We
So,
watched, and by the way, I haven't missed a Steeler game in this century. So you got to add all the sports that I watch, not just basketball. Imagine all the hockey I've watched since the 90s and how much tennis. I watched Djokovic and Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi and Roger Federer, Martina Navratilova, Steffi Graf, Monica Seles. And see, guys, it's not just basketball. It's not just football. Hockey, tennis, golf. I've seen it all, done it all. I'm a sports guy. It's what I do. And the knowledge is there, and it happens to stick very, very well. It's like really good spackle. So it makes for good conversation, and people learn, and you'll get some entertainment on top of that, especially when we have a lot of the guys here too. We like to bust chops a lot here on this channel, and your new guys are going to start seeing that more here, and it's I can't look at what happened today and look at anything bad at this point. I just want Luka to be playing. I want LeBron to be back. I want to see this team playing at the full tilt. That's what I want right now. That's all I'm thinking about.
well, again, appreciate everyone who's hung out with us this evening. It is truly immensely appreciated, greatly appreciated by us. I know that there are other channels, Laker channels, basketball channels you could have turned to, but you turned to us for the past 2.5 hours, and we're greatly appreciative of it. And if you want the best in Lakers content, sorry, not Lakers Nation, not Silver Screen and Roll, not all of the blah, blah, blah. It's us right here at the Lakers Fast Break. We give it to you. Check it out. Again, over 300 days a year giving you content on the Lakers and the NBA, Joe.
Yeah. Yeah, there's really no off season when it comes to being a Laker fanatic like us. Even when they were just making us mad, we still were watching. When they win, I'll never forget this. I was on another fan forum in 2002, and the Lakers were about to sweep the New Jersey Nets. I remember being on that fan forum and all the discussions once middle of the fourth quarter hit and it was pretty much done that it was going to be a 4-game sweep. Almost 4 or 5 pages on that forum was what the Lakers are going to do the following year. Hardly anyone was thinking about we just won another title, and not only that, you three-peated. How many teams three-peat? Only the best of the greatest do that kind of stuff. Like that's such a Michael Jordan did it because he's Michael Jordan, and then you had Shaq and Kobe do it. Like who else is going to do it? Maybe Patrick Mahomes does it tomorrow, right? And he's great. Only the greats of the great, even as good as Golden State were, they couldn't three-peat. So we want more, and I don't think you should ever not think that way. Tom Brady said when he was asked, what's your favorite title win? He goes, the next one. Michael Jordan still is upset that he didn't get a chance to play in 1999 to win another championship. And that must drive him mad, Gerald, because that was the lockout season. They would have had so much rest playing that 50-game schedule. It was compacted, but Jordan was a grinder. It wouldn't have affected him, at least for one more run. They could have probably four-peated that year. Would you say they would have?
Yeah.
They would have beaten San Antonio in the finals, wouldn't they have?
I think they would have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Reinsdorf is owners, guys in those positions sometimes, man, they seriously they can really put us to you when they want to. But yeah, I'm excited for Monday. Very happy with how the team played today. This is 2 games in a row where they got pressed after getting out early. They dealt with that tightness of a team coming back. They were able to fight through it and win in the close game. And now the big guns are coming, and now you don't have to put as much pressure on yourself to do the things that need to get done.
I'm looking forward to it, my friend. Looking absolutely forward to it. And remember, for that game, first off, tomorrow we will be bringing another show tomorrow night after the Super Bowl and all that. I also want to go ahead and mention that my show, Pop Culture Cosmos, will be bringing you a show based off the best Super Bowl commercials and trailers, among other things we talk about, the world of pop culture. Tomorrow night, we'll be bringing you a Lakers-centric show right here at the Lakers Fast Break. And then on Monday, Joe, playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. Join us for the conversation during the game. And afterwards, Joe, where's the best Lakers post game? Right here with the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Just absolutely just been a fantastic evening for us, numbers wise. One of our biggest videos ever. Absolutely. It's because of you guys. And thank you so much again. Truly appreciate it. But Joe, yeah, you started it. I think you need to finish it, my friend.
Yes, thank you again. For those of you who haven't seen us before, you can reach me at Joe Sora LFB on X. If you want to reach me on Instagram under my business, Synblades, SYN Blades, BLADES _turf. If you guys are old school Facebook people, you can reach me on Facebook at Johnny Blade, JOHNNY Blade, 2 separate words. I have Dodgers World Order as my profile pic. That's how you find me there. Yes, I am a Dodger fan. Yes, I'm just as much of a fanatic Dodger fan as I am a Laker fan. And we're going to be doing a lot of Dodger content too as well. I'm going to be opening my own channel, and we'll be entertaining. That one's going to be a challenge because 162 games is a very, very long season. But we'll do our best to keep people with some fresh material, and that's what happens also when you have games every day. You have something to talk about that's new that day, and then during the summer, it will be easier to do the Laker shows as well because we'll be talking about preparation of what's going on, and you guys will get a chance to meet the other guys like Sean Grice and our boy Mark from Australia, and
John Costa,
John
the
Costa.
Lakerholics crew.
Yes. So you guys are watching a channel that's got a lot of good, diverse personalities and a lot of diverse shows. This is kind of the main crew here, me, Gerald, and I, just because we have a schedule that's a little bit more apt to what this is. So thank you all for being here tonight. Again, anytime, guys, you can connect with me. Go ahead, Gerald.
No, just saying thank you to the audience out there.
Thank you to the audience. Thank you for the newbies. Thank you for the regulars. Thank you for everything, guys. We'll be back tomorrow, and until next time.
Good. Well, hold on. Good point, Michael. In Dallas, they're probably wishing that another trade was rescinded as well.
Yeah. Good luck with that. I bet if Luka came with no legs, they still would have passed that physical. But again, until next time, folks, we'll see you next time.